I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got inner peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Hello and welcome back to my channel, Fanfic Fantasy. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today, we're kicking off the first part of our series, What If Tanjiro Was Overpowered Genius? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is Zap7 from Wattpad. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Some general info really quick about the story. 1. Tanjiro pretends to be nice a lot, but he doesn't really mean anything that he says when he says those things. You will see his true side a lot, but you will mostly see his fake side. 2. Mitsuri will be the one who meets Tanjiro instead of Jiyu, which means, as ironic as it is, Tanjiro will learn love breathing, which I think would be an interesting idea considering Tanjiro's personality now. 3. Tanjiro's appearance will be the exact same as in the story. With that out of the way, let's begin the story. For me, it was just another morning. I would go downtown and start swindling people out of their money. My family was not rich by any means. In fact, I would even say that we are poor. But even though we are poor, our mother always tells us to be nice to others and whatnot. However, for me, I don't understand those rules. I tell my family that I get the money I bring home by selling coal, but in reality, I swindle people out of their money and buy things and sell them to other people for a higher price. Today was a long day, but I had managed to make a lot of money. Our mother was currently sick, so I needed to make all the money I could. Our father died a few years ago due to another illness, so I was the only one old enough and healthy enough to make money. I started going up the mountain to where our family lived when I saw one of our neighbors call out to me with a smile on his face, "Tanjiro, come here." I didn't want to, but I ran up to him anyway and asked, "What do you need?" in a faked happily voice. "Stay at my house tonight. It's already pretty dark out and that's when demons come out," my neighbor said. There he goes on again with that demon shit, I thought. "All right then, I'll take you on that offer," I said with another faked smile. After a while, he cooked me supper, and then I went to bed in a futon he laid out. After I was positive he was asleep, I got back up and started going through his things and taking some leftover money he had. Can't take too much or else he'll get suspicious, I thought. I then left the house and went back to my house. However, when I got closer I realized that the smell of blood was really strong. I ran up the mountain to my house only to see a horrific scene. My whole family was slaughtered, blood was everywhere and the house was destroyed. It was awful, yet I still could bring myself to cry. I just looked at them, unsure of what to do. I then realized that Nezuko was still alive. "Nezuko, what happened?" I asked calmly while I grabbed an axe that we had just in case we were attacked again. She didn't respond, but she was still alive. I then picked her up on my back and started to carry her back to town when I felt her grip on me tighten. "Nezuko, try to relax," I said coldly. Nezuko didn't respond though, as she leaned backward, tumbling us off the land we were on, and we fell down to the ground. "Nezuko, what the he?" I started when I cut myself off. Once I looked at Nezuko. Her eyes were slit like a cat and were pink, while she was in a position that you would see from a wild animal. Demon? I wondered. If she truly was, then that meant all of the stuff that my neighbor was saying was true. I readied my axe just in case she tried something and called out, "Nezuko, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but if you attack I will fight back," I said emotionlessly. She then charged at me with her fangs out like she was trying to bite me. I then quickly sidestepped and swung the axe right at the back of her neck. Blood splattered on my face as I looked at her with cold eyes. I then got the axe out of her neck and started walking away when I heard another noise come from that way. I turned around and saw that Nezuko was back to full health. Her neck was regenerated and everything. "What?" I asked coldly. Nezuko then charged at me again while I dodged and tried to decapitate her this time. However, she caught the axe and snapped it in half. I then tried to kick her away, but it didn't do anything as she grabbed my leg and threw me against a tree. Ugh! I then coughed up blood as soon as I hit the tree. Nezuko then came running right at me while I was still on the ground. "Damn it, is this really it?" I thought. Then out of nowhere came a girl with pink hair with green highlights at the end. "Love breathing first form, shivers of first love." The mysterious girl called out as her sword seemed like it turned into a whip and easily cut through my sister. This time though she didn't regenerate and tears started coming out of her eyes. The other girl then turned around to look at me with a pitiful expression on her face. "I'm sorry, she was important to you, right? I don't know who this is, but she seemed super strong. I should try to get on her good side," I thought. "Yeah, she was my sister," I said as I got back up. The girl didn't say anything and I then started to walk away. "Wait, where are you going?" she yelled out. To bury the rest of my family, I said without turning around. The girl then ran behind me and hugged me from the back. Let me help. It must not be easy for a boy your age, she said sadly. I nodded and went back to my family home where the rest of my family lay dead. The girl had broken into light tears but held herself from crying a lot, probably for my sake. As I started digging the graves with her, I asked her, hey ... how did you kill it? I asked without looking at her. My blade is a Nichiren sword which has the ability to kill demons, she responded. Do you think I can hunt demons as well? I asked as I met her eyes for once. He's so cute, the girl thought. Well, maybe if you had a teacher then sure, she said. Well, can you be my teacher? I asked. She didn't say anything at first, but I could tell she was thinking about it. You know what? Yeah, I'll be your teacher, she said with a grin. Too easy, I thought as I continued digging the graves. After we finished, the girl finally introduced herself. My name is Kenroji Mitsuri, and I am a Hashira, she said as we walked into town. I'm Tanjiro Kamado. Nice to meet you, I said with a forced smile. Soocute, Mitsuri thought. We then walked up to a train that was in our town and Mitsuri bought us tickets. I'm going to take you to my private estate so nobody will know about you yet. If they did, you and I both would be swarmed with questions and probably wouldn't be beneficial to either of us, Mitsuri said. I nodded and looked out my window as the train started to move. The sun had just started to rise again and the train was now moving full speed. Well, let's hope that this goes well, I thought before going to sleep. Tanjiro, Mitsuri was yelling as she shook me awake. Oh, are we here? I asked as I stood up from my seat. Mitsuri then grabbed me by my hand and pulled me off the train to where she lived. It was a huge house with lots of flowers around it. There weren't any other houses nearby, so this would be the best place to train me. As we went inside, she showed me where my room would be and where all the other rooms are. Then we immediately went into the backyard for training. Now Tanjiro, what style I'm about to teach you is love breathing. It is originated from flame breathing. Love breathing is all about using your flexibility, speed, and agility to its full potential, Mitsuri said. Love breathing. Out of all the ones, I guess I can't complain though, I thought. First things first, in order to teach you, you're going to have to train to have the proper body for it. So you will be stretching, running, and doing exercises all day. I gave her a forced smile and said thank you. She then looked at me for a moment before asking me something. Why do you do that? What do you mean? I asked back. You're always doing a fake smile. There's no love behind it at all. It shocked me that she found out, but there was no need to keep up the acting any longer. My smile quickly went away as I looked at her and said I smile because it used to keep my family less worried about me. As for why I'm like this, who knows? She didn't say anything but just kept looking into my eyes. If you don't want to have me as your disciple, you can just say it. You teach love breathing. After all, I don't know if this would fit me, I said as I stood up to walk away. But then she grabbed me by my arm and pulled me back. You seem to think that I don't want to have you here. Although you may not say it, your eyes show that there is love behind them. They just haven't been shown yet. What are you talking about? I asked. I mean that even if currently you have no love, I'm positive that you will have love in you in the future. And even if you're my first disciple, I will accept you with open arms, Mitsuri said with a large smile. What? She knows how I am and won't push me away, I thought. Then I will take you up on your offer, I say as I sit back down. Alright, well, first things first, stretching, Mitsuri said. She then proceeded to bend my body in ways that I thought they weren't supposed to bend. Afterward, she had me run 10 miles and do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 pull-ups. I panted as I tried to regain my breath. Don't get too tired yet. Mitsuri started. You have to do it all again tomorrow, so get some rest. I then gave a nod and went into my room to go relax for the rest of the night. Man, that training is tough, I thought. I then looked inside my pockets and realized the money I had stolen was still there, but it didn't look like there were any stores nearby, so I just put them back. Mitsuri is weird. She knows how I am and still keeps me as a disciple. I can't imagine what she's thinking, I thought as I drifted off to bed. When the next morning came, there was a note left on the kitchen table that said, Tanjiro, when you read this, I will be gone to go on my missions. Make sure you keep up doing everything we did yesterday. You should have plenty of food and water. When I come back, I'll put you through some tests that will make your life terrible if you don't do the training. Good luck. Love, Mitsuri. Love, Mitsuri, I thought as I threw it away. I then went and did all my exercises day after day for a whole 6 months. 6 months later. Hey, Tanjiro, Mitsuri yelled as she came running towards me. Oh, hey Mid, I was then cut off when she jumped on me and wrapped me in a bear hug. Hey, too tight. I managed to get out. Oh, sorry, she said as she let go. So how did this mission go? I asked with a blank face. It went well. No casualties or anything, she replied with a grin. Anyways, now I think that you are ready to learn the forms of love breathing, she said proudly. I turned around to see her give me a whip. There are only 6 forms of love breathing. I gave you a whip because you have to use a special sword to efficiently use love breathing. Like this one, she said as she pulled out her katana. It seemed like an average sword, but then when she went to go attack a training dummy, it turned into something like a whip. Alright, so watch closely, she said as she did all 6 forms right in front of me. For the 4th form, I'll make something up. She then walked me through how to do each one step by step. I then tried to do them on my own and failed. Don't worry about it too much. They're really hard to learn at first, but once you start to get it, it gets pretty easy, she said with a smile. I nodded and kept on trying to get all of the forms down. 4 months later, Mitsuri, I can now do all of the forms, I said in a monotone voice. Now for your final part of training ... you have to give me a genuine smile, Mitsuri yelled out. I looked at her with a deadpan expression and said, really? Well, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but it would be nice to see, Mitsuri said with a smile. I looked at her and gave her a forced smile to see if I could play it off. No, Baka, she yelled, a real smile, one that comes from the bottom of your heart. After a while of just staring at each other, she finally gave up. Fine, you win. However, your real final part of training is final selection. During that, you will have to survive 7 days in a forest full of demons. Alright, when is it? I asked. It's in 6 more months, so during that time you'll be sparring with me, Mitsuri said with a smile. What about when you're on missions? I asked. You'll run 20 miles, do 200 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, and 200 pull-ups. Alright then, I said. From that day on, I was doing an even harder training. For my fights with Mitsuri, I only won 1 time, and that was when she just got back after a super tough mission, so I definitely am not as strong as her yet. Then before I knew it, it was time for natural selection. 6 months later. Bye Mitsuri, I'm going to final selection now, I said emotionlessly. She didn't say anything at first, but then wrapped me in a hug, not one of her bone-crushing ones, but a genuine hug. Please Tanjiro, come back alive, she said with some tears leaving her body. I didn't know what to say or do, but for some reason my arms moved and wrapped her back in a light hug. See, I knew there was love in you, she said with a smile as some tears started to come out. Well, I'll be going now, I said as I took off. Bye Tanjiro, Mitsuri yelled as I left. With that, I was off to final selection. I have finally left Mitsuri's home and am now on my way up a mountain to where final selection takes place. The only weapons I have on me are a normal katana and a whip, so I can continue to practice love breathing. As I went further up the mountain, I noticed that everywhere was surrounded by a purplish plant that glowed. So this is the wisteria that Mitsuri was talking about, I thought. When I finally reached the top of the mountain, I saw about 40 people there. All of them were equipped with a katana and looked ready to go, except for one boy with blonde hair. Are you nervous? I asked with a fake smile. Of course I am. I gonna die without a wife, the blonde yelled out. I didn't respond but just looked at him. Why are you looking at me like that? He yelled back. Nothing. Anyway, good luck, I said with a fake smile. I then waited a little bit before 2 young girls appeared and started to explain things. Hello, we would like to welcome you to final selection. Here you will be tasked with living in a demon-filled forest for 7 days. If you survive afterward, then you become a demon slayer and get a messenger crow to send you on missions. Finally, you will be able to choose the ingredient that your katana is made of, both girls said with a monotone voice. With that, they welcomed us into the forest. I lagged behind the others as they went in first and then split up from them after we went deeper into the forest. I had now been walking around for 1 hour without any sight of demons when I suddenly caught the smell of one. I turned around to see a demon with a long head and skinny body looking at me human. I haven't had one in so long. It cried out as it jumped toward me. I then swiftly cut off its head in one single motion using the katana I was gifted. I then kept on walking only for no other demons to show up, so I went atop a tree to rest. Why did I hug Mitsuri back? I wondered. With my family, I always felt more like a tool than a family member to them. They did love me but always kept pushing me to do more and more things to the point where I was leaving at dawn and returning at night. With Mitsuri, though, it felt different. I felt more like a human than someone just to help out. I kept on thinking about that a little bit longer as I finally fell asleep while remaining on high alert. I woke up the next day and jumped down from my tree and ate some berries I found in a bush that wasn't poisonous. I then continued walking until I met a girl with a butterfly hairpin wearing all white clothing. We both didn't say anything to each other as we just walked by each other. That was when I heard a distant scream that I barely heard. After I heard it, me and the girl immediately made our way to where we heard the scream. As I got closer, the smell of blood and a strong demon was becoming super strong. I looked around a tree only to see a large demon with tons of hands covering its neck moving toward an injured boy. Please don't hurt me," the boy said as tears started rolling from his eyes. "Don't worry, you're not from him, so I'll make it quick," the demon said. Right before he was about to kill the boy though, the girl jumped in the way and cut off the arm of the giant. "Dumbass, that thing is super powerful, we should just let it be," I thought as I started walking away. Hey you, are you going to help me also?" the injured boy asked. "You son of a..." I turned around to see that everybody was staring at me. No choice then, I thought as I readied my katana. Two demon slayer brats that look fairly strong. "I'll be eating good tonight." It yelled at its grew arms and stretched them towards me and the girl. I dodged me while the girl said flower breathing fourth form, Crimson Hangoromo. She then cut the arm of the demon off without breaking a sweat. So she the disciple of a Hashira as well, I thought. I landed on the arm of the demon and started running up the arm towards its neck. I can't use any love breathing techniques right now since I don't have the right sword, so I just have to rely on my basic swordsman training. I then tried to cut the neck of the demon, but the arms covering its neck were much tougher. I clicked my tongue as I jumped back to where the injured boy was. That was when I got an idea. I quickly picked him up and threw him right at the demon. "Have Yaoi gone insane?" the demon asked happily as it opened its mouth to eat the slayer, but before it could I sliced off its neck while it was distracted. After I cut off its head, I noticed that it started crying. "Pathetic," I said as I started to leave. Before I could though, the girl with the hairpin flipped a coin and then walked up to me. "Why did you do that?" she asked in a monotone yet angry voice. "Why? He's dead. Wait, anyway, he was going to die before time was up, so at least let him die being useful," I shot back. She then tried to slap me. In response, I caught her wrist and squeezed to the point of them almost breaking. "Listen, I don't care what morals you have, I have mine and you have yours," I said coldly as I let her hand go and disappeared. The next few days went by super fast. There weren't that many demons, but I swore I saw a guy in a boar head running around, but I figured that I was just seeing things. Other than that, I just practiced love breathing when no demons were around. Now that final selection ended with only 4 survivors: Flower Girl, Blonde Scaredy Cat, some kid with a mark, and me. Congratulations on surviving. We welcome you all on becoming demon slayers. Now you will have a crow choose you as a partner, the girl said before the kid with a scar on his face grabbed one of the girls by the hair and yelled, "Who the hell cares about a stupid bird? Give me the metal that I can kill demons with." I just stood there and watched as the whole ordeal happened when the blonde kid stepped in and grabbed the kid's hand. "You shouldn't treat a lady like that," he said coldly, much unlike how he was before. "Fine, whatever," the kid said as he went back to where he was. We then got our crows. Mine was a raven that landed on my shoulder. Then we got to pick the ore to make our swords with. The 2 girls said that based on the demons killed in the forest, I would go first since I had the most kills. I picked out the ore that smelled the strongest to me as I started to walk home, only for me to see another girl with a butterfly hairpin at the bottom of the mountain. "Oh hey," she yelled as she came up to me. "Have you seen another girl with a hairpin like mine?" I nodded and then proceeded to leave. "Hey, wait," she yelled, but I didn't listen to her as I kept on walking to Mitsuri's house. I finally made it back to Mitsuri's house, and right as I was about to open the door swung open and Mitsuri wrapped me in a hug. "I'm glad you're okay," she said with a big smile. She then let go of me and said, "Since you have become an official demon slayer, now you will go on missions. Your custom-made sword should be done in about 2 weeks, so make sure you can do all the breathings right." "I can do them all," I said in response. "Also, do you know about..." I was about to say as the door swung open. I quickly moved out of the way and hid behind a wall, since if Mitsuri was found to have a disciple, a lot of effort would have to be made to explain. "Hi, Mitsuri," a familiar voice called out. I peeked around the door only to see 2 girls, each with butterfly pins in their hair. One was the one I met during final selection and the other was one I met after. "Oh hey Shinobu, Kanao," she said, clearly caught off guard that they randomly came. "Mind if we stay over for a bit?" Shinobu asked. "Not at all," Mitsuri responded with a smirk. Then Shinobu started talking about final selection and how well Kanao did in it, but you're not gonna believe what happened. Apparently, a slayer was injured and the kid Kanao was fighting used him as bait and got him killed. "This is not going to be good," I thought as I tried to leave. "What did he look like?" Mitsuri asked curiously. "He had black hair with reddish tips at the end and a red mark or something on his forehead." "Is that so?" she said while secretly glaring at where I was hiding. After a while, they finally took their leave and Mitsuri called out, "Tanjiro." "Yes," I replied in a monotone voice. "Why did you kill the boy?" she asked. Why keep someone around only for them to die a few moments later? At least he died doing something useful, I said back coldly. Promise me you won't do that again, Mitsuri said. I looked at her and responded, no promises. It's not like I want to kill people, but if it's necessary then I will, I responded. To that, she put her hand on her forehead and said, just try not to. It's our job to protect people weaker than us, even if they will die trying to give them a death where they will have no regrets. Fine, I said. Now with that out of the way, let's have a feast. She yelled as she brought out tons of food. I forgot, she loves to eat, I thought. I had some meat that was there, but Mitsuri proceeded to eat everything else. That was good, she said. I nodded and then went into my room and waited for the days to pass until I got my katana. 1 week later, Tanjiro, come here, Mitsuri yelled. I came to the front door when I saw her with a guy in a weird mask holding a katana. Here's your katana, one rule. Do not break it, he said very angrily. Okay, I responded as I grabbed the sword from his hands. When I unsheathed the katana, it changed from a gray to black with red flames on the front. Wow, how cool, the man in the mask yelled. I then changed my grip on it and it turned into a whip-like sword with the blade still in the front. After he saw the transformation, the man in the mask disappeared and Mitsuri turned to me. Well, now that you're going on missions, we won't see each other in a while. Thank you. I mean it, I said as I started leaving with a blank expression on my face. Wahhtanjiro. Mitsuri yelled with tears in her eyes as she hugged me super tightly. Okay, you can let go now, I said. Sorry, she said as she let go. Make sure you stay safe. With that, I took my leave and my raven gave me my first mission. Tanjiro, you are to head to a town south of here, to a village where girls have been disappearing. I then started to head south for my first mission. After a while of walking, I finally reached the town my raven had told me to go to. It was around noon and everyone seemed pretty happy despite all the girls going missing. I then asked around about the missing cases and there were 2 things that stood out. One is that they were all 16-year-old girls and the other is that they just disappeared. Not like a kidnapping, but they would be sleeping and the next morning they would just be gone. I then waited until it was dusk and waited for time to pass while I sat on one of the roofs. After a while I noticed 2 teenagers walking around outside. One was a boy and the other was a girl. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect bait, I thought as I trailed them. Thanks for going with me today, the boy yelled. No problem. After all, we are soon to be husband and wife, the girl replied bashfully. I waited a while and the demon finally showed itself and all of a sudden dragged the girl underwater. My eyes stayed calm, yet I was surprised that it just grabbed her like that. I was about to go find another person to bait, but then Mitsuri's words rang in my head. Our job is to protect people weaker than us. Even if they will die, try to give them a death without regrets. Damn it, I thought as I jumped in the mysterious puddle that the girl got dragged into. I then saw the demon and cut his arms off when he wasn't paying attention and brought the girl back up. Leave now, I said. They both nodded and quickly left. Then the demon came up from the puddle and said, why would you let her go? Human girls taste disgusting after 16. My response to that was love breathing, second form, love pangs. Multiple whip-like movements cut up the demon into many pieces, but for some reason, he wasn't disappearing. I figured he must have multiple bodies. Then the body that I cut up regenerated as 2 other ones appeared from puddles right behind him. Do you really think you can take 3 of us on at once? The demon asked. Of course, I replied as I said, love breathing 4th form. Direct love. The 4th form is going to be like Jin's sword from Bleach. Basically, it makes it so that while the katana stays super long, it loses its flexibility, making it like a super long katana. The use of this is for more strength but less movement. I then cut off 2 of the demon's heads while the other one barely dodged. The katana quickly went back into its natural whip-like state and came close to me. TCH, I clicked my tongue and moved in as I tried to cut the other demon's head off, but he ducked underwater. Then the other demons regenerated their head and came charging at me. I then cut off their ankles so they couldn't chase after me right away as I jumped back into the water where the first demon went. I have roughly about 5 minutes 10 seconds to kill this one before the others jumped in, I thought. I quickly extended my katana and cut off the head of the original demon running away. I then quickly swam back up and killed the 2 remaining demons. What a pain. If it was just a regular demon it wouldn't have been this much of a hassle, I thought as I quickly walked away to a nearby inn to spend the night. I woke up the next morning around 9 in the morning. I went downstairs to see someone I hadn't expected to see. It was the butterfly girl I saw at final selection. Kano, I think her name was. I didn't say anything as I walked past her with my raven on my shoulder. I came here to help a demon slayer that was supposed to be fighting a tough demon. Did you kill it? She asked angrily. Of course, I responded coldly. Did you kill anyone in the process? She asked with her back to mine, still with an angry attitude. I thought about it, but then decided not to, and because of that it became a bigger hassle to kill the demon, I said. I then continued walking away as she didn't have anything else to say. Tanjiro, how strong are you? That demon was definitely more than someone who just passed final selection could take care of, Kanao thought as she walked the other way. Ka, Tanjiro, go northeast and you will find a mansion. That is where your next demon is. Ka, my raven called out. I then started walking that way, and after about 2 hours of walking I saw someone else I didn't want to see. Please be my wife, I beg you. The blonde begged. No way. I just gave you some food because you looked sad. The girl cried back. I then went over to them and intervened. Nice to meet you again, I said with a fake smile. Oh, it's you. The blonde replied back. This girl here clearly doesn't want to become your wife, so please just let her go, I said. Ah, really? He turned to the girl. The girl then slapped him in response and ran away. I guess we didn't have a chance to introduce each other earlier. I'm Tanjiro, I said. Oh, I'm Zenitsu, he said back, stunned from what just happened. Are you on the mission to get to the mansion with the demon in it? I asked. Why, yeah, at least I'll have someone strong like you to protect me, he said with a sigh of relief. I gave him another fake smile and said, well, let's be friends then. Yay, he replied with another smile. We then walked for another 2 hours and reached a house that had the smell of demons all over it, and not to mention there were 2 kids crying in front of the house. What's wrong? Zenitsu asked. The big brother was taken away. The younger boy cried out. Oh, I see. You don't have to worry though, since I will save your big brother, I said, still with a fake smile on. Don't you mean we? Zenitsu wondered. Thank you. The 2 siblings cried as we entered the house. I went inside the mansion with Zenitsu right behind me. Tanjiro, you will protect me, right? Zenitsu asked nervously. I flashed him a fake smile and said of course. We then continued walking when we encountered a demon that was looking around for something. Who are you? Are you with the boar kid? The demon asked. Boar kid? I thought, as Zenitsu screamed and ran away. Well, it doesn't matter if you are with him or not, since you'll die anyway, it yelled as it jumped at me. Love breathing first form. Shivers of first love, I said as I easily cut the demon's body into pieces. There are more demons here, I muttered as the smell of demons still hasn't gone away. I turned around only to see that Zenitsu wasn't there anymore. Well, whatever, I thought as I kept walking. I soon heard someone running down the halls. I noticed it wasn't a demon, but in fact someone with a boar head on running around. Demons come out. I am the strongest, so come here. He then ran right past me without turning around. Interesting guy, I thought as I kept going down the hallway. After a while of walking, the smell of a demon got very strong, so strong that figured it was the strongest one here. I then opened the door where I felt it was the strongest to see a humanoid-looking demon with drums on its body. Next to him was a kid that looked scared shitless. How dare you? I was just about to eat a rare blood and you had to interrupt. So you're the brother of the 2 younger kids. Don't worry, both of them are safe. So go, I said, directing him to the door. Wait, there are other demons, he said as he walked up to me. Well, you can either die here for sure or have a chance of surviving if you run. Your choice. With that, he took off and ran, and I turned back to the demon. Love breathing. 4th form, direct love, I said as my katana was about to cut off his head. But suddenly the room I was in changed and I went to the ceiling with the floor I was just on turned above me. He then hit his middle drum and an invisible claw attack came at me, but I still dodged it. A blood demon art, huh? I thought. Love breathing. 6th form, cat-legged winds of love. The demon, however, hit another drum and flipped the room backward, causing me to lose my momentum. What a pain in the ass, I thought as I kept swinging my sword from afar while dodging its claw attack. I then came up with a plan. I charged at him without using a breathing style, and as I thought, he changed the room. This time though, I flipped backward mid-air and said love breathing, 2nd form, love pangs, as I swiftly cut off the demon's head. The demon then started crying again. Man, what is with demons and crying after they're killed? If you kill, then prepare to be killed. It's that simple, I thought as I made my way back outside. When I went outside, I saw the 3 siblings all hugging each other, and Zenitsu and Boarhead were in a fight. Fight me. I saw you take out that demon. You were super fast, so fight me, the boar-headed person yelled. What are you talking about? When I woke up, it was dead. Zenitsu yelled back. What are you there? Who are you? The boar said, directing his attention to me. A demon slayer, I said. Are you strong? Of course no, I was about to say when Zenitsu cut me off. Yeah, he's the strongest guy I've ever met. Really? I thought. Whahahaha. Then fight me instead, the boar yelled. No, I prefer not to fight people, I said with another forced smile. Try me, he yelled as he charged me with 2 jagged katanas. I did perfect splits to dodge and then swept him to the ground using my legs. We're done now, okay? Anyway, I hope to meet up with you guys soon, I said as I left. Tanjiro, go to Asakusa and you will kill a demon there. Man, it's one after another with these missions. No wonder Mitsuri barely came home, I thought. I then walked all the way there, which took around 7 hours. When I was there it was already dark out, but as soon as I arrived I smelled something I would never forget. The smell of the demon that murdered my family. I quickly went running on rooftops to try and pinpoint where he was, and I immediately saw him. It was a man in a black suit and had pale white skin. Muzan, according to Mitsuri, is the only demon that can turn people into demons, so he was the one that killed my family and turned Nezuko into a demon. I watched his movement from the top of buildings, secretly following him, when I realized he was walking with a woman and a newborn child in the mother's arms. If I take them hostage, will he react? No, he wouldn't care. This is probably just a cover to hide himself, I thought. I kept on watching until he eventually turned his head and stared right at me with a cold glare, which I returned to him. Then a look of absolute fear came across his face, but he wasn't looking at me, but my earrings. He quickly collected himself and turned someone into a demon secretly and ran away. I jumped down and swiftly decapitated the demon, making sure nobody saw me do it, and chased Muzan. However, I soon lost track of him and his family. Damnit! I yelled, but no one heard me since they were all looking at the body in the street. That's when another demon came out as well. It was a young woman with a green hair kid beside her. Before they could join the crowd, I went next to them and said, so Muzan already sent people after me. As I drew my blade. Wait, the woman cried out, I am the only demon against Muzan. Please trust me, she said as she bowed her head. Who would believe something like that? I asked back. I know you don't believe me, but please trust me. I will help you defeat Muzan, she said with her head still bowed. Well, you don't seem hostile, so I'll take your word on it. For now, I said as I put my katana back. Who are you to talk to Lady Tamayo like that? The green-haired demon yelled as he approached me. I then quickly drew my sword again and put it right at his neck. I am under no obligation to do this. If you wish, I could simply kill her instead. Yushiro, enough, Tamayo said. Okay, Yushiro said quietly. With that I put back my katana again and said, do you have a place we can talk? Of course, please follow me, she said as she led me to her home that was well hidden. I then followed Tamayo and Yushiro to a wall, but they walked right through it. I followed them and there was a house I never realized was there. A blood demon art, I thought. We then went inside and sat down in the basement. Explain, why are you the only demon against Muzan? I asked. He turned me into a demon without my permission, but I could break free from his control by some stroke of luck. Since then I have been living off of human blood only given by donors. What about the other kid? I asked again. He was terminally ill when he was a human. I gave him a choice to either die with his humanity or he could keep living as a demon. Wait, you can turn people into demons? I asked. Yes, since I am a doctor I was able to find a way to turn people into demons, Tamayo responded. I see. Well, how can you help against Muzan? If you can get me the blood from the 12 Kazuki, I can make a poison that will be very effective against him. I am a doctor after all, Tamayo said. We then chatted about the details for a bit, and right when I was about to leave there was a loud thud upstairs. We all then ran upstairs to see that everything was destroyed and a massive hole in the wall. I then looked outside and saw 2 demons. One had 6 arms and had a temeri ball, and the other one had eyes on his palms. Suzumaru, this looks to be the kid, the one with the eyes on his palms said. Let's make the master happy and bring him his head Yahaba, Suzumaru said back. So Muzan sent these guys after me, I thought. I then charged at the demons and said love-breathing 6th form, cat-legged winds of love. But before I could, Yahaba's eye on his hand opened super wide and I got sent flying backward. Demon Slayer, you look pathetic, Suzumaru yelled as she threw a temeri ball at me. I quickly jumped up and dodged it, only for me to get sent flying into the house by Yahaba's ability again. Tanjiro, Tamayo yelled out. He died just like that, huh? I guess he wasn't anything to worry about after all, Yahaba said as he walked toward me to get my head. Then I muttered, love-breathing 4th form, direct love, as my katana easily sliced right through the demon's head super fast. What? That was a dirty trick, you brat, Suzumaru yelled. So what? All is fair in war, I said as I easily got back up and dusted the dust off of my clothes. I then looked at Tamayo, who seemed relieved that I was okay, and Yushiro seemed upset that I didn't die yet. I then charged at her with my sword and started to slash at her, with her now being on the defensive. Love-breathing 1st form, shivers of first love, I said as I easily cut off all of her arms and went for her neck, only for her to barely dodge. She then backed up to make some space between us. I'll make you pay for killing Yushiro, Suzumaru yelled as she threw multiple temari balls at me which I dodged easily by doing flips and such. I then said love breathing second form, love pangs, easily decapitating her. Afterward, she then started to cry again right before death. Now that I think about it, could it be that once demons are on the verge of death they rediscover the humanity that was taken away from them? I thought. It made sense considering that if Tameo was the only demon that escaped Musen's control and kept her humanity, that once a demon was on death door Musen no longer controlled them and they regained their past selves. Tanjiro, are you okay? Tameo asked while running up to me. I'm fine, no injuries. Thank goodness, Tameo said back. Well, I'm sorry this happened to your house, but I got to go now, so I hope to see you around, I said in a monotone voice before leaving. Lady Tameo, are you really going to help him? You saw how he treated you when you first met. He's only keeping you around because you're useful. Once you no longer provide use to him, I'm sure he'll kill you, Yushiro said. Yushiro, you have to remember that we are not humans anymore. Even if he only wants to use me, I still want to defeat Musen. But, listen, I have had a ton of experience with people in the past, but Tanjiro is a first for me. But something about him just seems sad. It feels almost like he has lived a lie his whole life. Tameo said calmly. What do you mean living a lie? Even though we only spent a few hours together, he never once showed emotion. He never once got angry or happy, he just seems to function off of pure logic. I imagine that would cause issues for his family, so he had to pretend to someone he wasn't without getting the real him out, Tameo said sadly. Yushiro didn't say anything back. He knew that he had tried to kill them before, but he knew that to do that it must have been logical and not angry. Even when Tanjiro saw Tameo for the first time, he didn't see her as anything but a demon. I hope that while I will kill Musen, to also help Tanjiro accept himself and not hide it, to finally show him the emotions that he is missing so that he can truly laugh and smile. Tameo said, I wish you luck, Tanjiro. I hope we meet again soon. Tameo thought before going back into the destroyed house. With Tanjiro, go to Mount Natagumo. There you will find demons. My raven called out. Another mission. Hopefully, I can get a break soon, I thought as I started making my way there. As I made my way toward the mountain, I ran into Zenitsu and bore head again. Tanjiro, thank goodness you're here. Zenitsu called out. Yes, Manjiro, you will fight me right now. The boar-head man said. Wait, I don't even know your name. Can you at least tell me that? I asked with a fake smile. Wahaha. My name is Inosuke. Don't forget it. Inosuke yelled back. Another idiot to deal with, I thought. Well, let's keep going to Mount Natagumo. I heard that there is a super strong demon there, I said as we walked to the mountain. It took us around 5 hours to finally arrive, and when we did, the whole mountain reeked of blood. None of us said a word as we looked at the mountain. I had a neutral expression. Zenitsu looked scared and Inosuke seemed like he had a serious face, but I couldn't tell cause of the boar head. Well, let's get going, I said as we finally went up the mountain. As we walked, the smell of blood got worse and we saw someone running towards us. Hey, what rank are you guys? He asked desperately. We are all Mizunoto, I replied back. What? Why didn't they send us a Hashira? The boy yelled back. There were a total of 10 ranks, with the Hashira being a rank that surpasses the rest. 10. Mizunoto. 9. Mizuno. 8. Kinoto. 7. Kano. 6. Tsuchinoto. 5. Tsuchino. 4. Hinoto. 3. Hino. 2. Kinoto. 1. Kino. We were currently the lowest of ranks, a Mizunoto. No matter what the demon is, I'll slaughter it. Inosuke yelled as he ran into the mountain. Well, we still have a mission to kill a demon here, so we'll be going, I said as I made my way up the mountain with Zenitsu behind me. Zenitsu, you go that way, I said pointing to the right. What? Are you out of your mind? I'm gonna die. Trust me, would I ever do something to betray you? I asked with fake puppy eyes. I guess not, he said as he started walking towards where I pointed. 5 minutes later I found the reason why the mountain reeked of blood. Demon slayers, hundreds of them were lying there either dead or horribly injured. I decided to keep walking forward when a whole bunch of them got up and charged at me. As they were running at me, though, I noticed threads attached to their limbs, so they're being controlled, I thought as I quickly outran them and went to where all the threads led. I then saw a demon who had a super worried look on her face when she saw me. And no, I am gonna die. She then started crying. Of course, I responded. Wait, before I do, please kill my younger brother. He was going to kill me after this anyway, she said with tears streaming out. Is he the strongest one? I asked with a cold glare. Why yes, he is lower moon 5 Rui. I see, you will have a painless death for helping, I said as I cut off her head. Thank you. I then ran up the mountain for a good 5 minutes when I encountered more dead demon slayers and 2 more demons that looked like the one I just killed. Leave this mountain immediately. Our family lives here and we will not tolerate outsiders, the younger boy said. I looked at him before saying, some family, this is more like you're a tyrant. What did you say, you bastard? He asked in a very angry voice. I may have never really liked my family, but I can easily tell when bonds are real or fake. Your bonds are only created through fear, I said as I readied my sword. He then looked at the other demon beside him. Do I scare you? Oh, of course not, brother, she said nervously. Well, since you insulted my family like that, prepare to die. He then swung his hand in a claw motion with a tight small thread attached to the ends of his fingers. I easily dodged them and ran right towards him. Love breathing second form, love pangs. He then threw his sister to the side and easily dodged my attack. Then quickly I ran to his sister and put my sword against her neck. I'll give you a choice then. If you say your family is real. If you die, then I'll let your sister go. If you choose to continue fighting, then I chop her head off, I said with no emotion. You bastard. How do you even plan to kill me anyway? Your blade is on her neck. The demon slayer that has been following me the whole time can, I responded looking into the forest. A few moments later, none other than Kanao came out. She then flipped a coin and said, what a vile way of killing demons, she said angrily. Oh, so demons should just be able to all die painless deaths. I snapped back. Not all demons are bad, you know. So, they're bad right now, so why does it matter how we kill them? I'm sure you've experienced loss before, right? I can tell just by looking at you, I said in a monotone voice. Her expression then got very angry and she yelled, don't talk about human life like it's nothing. I saw how you treat others, you only care if they're useful. Hey, Rui called out, don't forget about me, you bastards. Both of you are going to die now, you can kill my sister if you need. So your bonds were fake, I said. No, it wasn't the bond but rather the person. After all, only a person that is related by blood can truly be a family. I don't know why, but hearing this I felt angry. Family is something that is made over time. It has nothing to do with blood at all. Mitsuri flashed in my mind. She was the only one who I could say truly cared about me to my very core. She didn't see me as a way to make money or a way to do things. She saw me as a person. Kanao looked surprised that I had gotten a little angry for once but didn't say anything. I guess we'll have to test our ideals through strength then, he said. I guess so, I replied back while decapitating the sister who was in tears. Kanao then stepped in and said, I'll help. No, stay out of this, I said in a monotone voice. This is between me and him. He's a lower moon, you can't take him by yourself, she said. Watch, I said as I charged at Rui. He then summoned tons of small threads around us to make it difficult for me to get to him. Love breathing third form, cat love shower. I easily tore through the threads like butter and approached Rui, who leaped back and said, time to step it up then. His white threads then turned red and I had to stop my attack for a moment. I then charged at him again, however instead of attacking I ran while using my excellent flexibility to easily dodge all the red threads. For some reason, while I was dodging I had a flashback. It was my father doing his dance at night like how he always had done. It seemed like flames were coming out of the wooden sword he was using while he danced. That shitty old man. I don't need his help, I thought as I kept pushing forward to Rui, who kept on leaping back. His reaction time is insane. Rui thought. Love breathing fifth form, swaying love, wild claw. I then did a backflip and dodged the threads mid-air while I chopped off Rui's head. I then landed only for me to cough up blood. What? I thought as I looked down. I realized that I had been cut all over my body. I just couldn't feel it because they were so thin. I then collapsed to the ground and the last thing I saw was Kanao and another butterfly lady running toward me. When I woke up I was laying down on a bed with Inosuke on a bed to my right and Zenitsu on a bed to my left. I then got up and realized that I was covered in bandages. Damn, he really would have killed me if not for Kanao and her sister. Anyway, I got to go right now. They saw the breathing style I use and I don't want to get Mitsuri involved in this, I thought. I then quickly left the room that I was in and opened the main door to the house, only to see Kanao's older sister sitting on the porch outside. You still need to recover from your injuries. Stay inside, she said without looking at me. I'm fine. I'll be going now since clearly you and your sister don't like me. You can't do that. The master wished to speak to you later today. Why should I listen to him? I asked. She then turned her head around and her eyes finally met mine. Because some Hashira may go out and kill you after. I wasn't on par with Hashira quite yet. I only won once when I fought Mitsuri and that was because she just came back. Considering that she's not even the strongest Hashira, I will most likely die. Fine, just don't cause me trouble and I won't cause you any, I said as I went back inside. A few hours had passed when Kanao's sister came into the room again. The master wishes to speak to you now. I didn't say anything but got up and walked with her. My name is Shinobu, just so you know. Tanjiro Kamado, I said back. We didn't say anything else as we walked all the way to the master's house. When we arrived there were 8 people all kneeling and Shinobu quickly joined them right after telling me to kneel as well. Hello my children, a man said. He had pale skin and a disease that covered the top of his head which was purple. Greeting master, everyone said at the same time. Is this the boy? Tanjiro Kamado. Yes, Shinobu answered. I looked over and noticed Mitsuri was also kneeling, but she had a somewhat worried expression on her face. Tanjiro, from what Kanao and Shinobu have reported, you use love breathing, correct? The master asked. This shocked everyone's face as Mitsuri's face looked even more worried. Correct, I replied. So does that mean you are Mitsuri's disciple? The master asked again. Huh? For that love for brains, idiot. No way, I just saw her fight the demon, and when I saw that I followed her home and watched from afar and memorized all of the techniques. This shocked everybody even more, especially Mitsuri. She was about to say something when another Hashira spoke up. He had a mask around his face and 2 different color eyes. So let me get this straight, you stalked Mitsuri home and then illegally learned a breathing form. Although this would jeopardize my whole life, I decided to keep with it. After all, it could ruin Mitsuri's career if they found out she secretly had a disciple. As for why I did it, I couldn't say. I just felt like I couldn't allow Mitsuri to get in trouble because of me after all she has done for me. That's what I just said, I replied. He then unsheathed his katana and put the blade right at my neck, and I didn't flinch at all. Master, we should kill him right now, he said. The master looked and met my gaze for a while, and then he said let him go. But master, do not question that master, another Hashira spoke up. This one had a scar going across his eyes and seemed to be blind. Tanjiro, I will permit you to still be a demon slayer on one condition. Fight a Hashira. And if you put up a good enough fight then we will allow you to stay. However, if you prove that even after illegally getting a breathing technique you are too weak you will be banished. The master said. Only banished. The masked Hashira called out. We will not just kill a child for something like that. I believe that deep down he is a good person. Even if you did end up killing a demon slayer. What? He killed a demon slayer. We should kill him right now. Another Hashira spoke up, this one having scars all over his body. The demon slayer was going to die no matter what happened. And yes, while I agree that he shouldn't have done that, I believe he still deserves a second chance. Then let me fight him. He said back to the master. Very well, Seini, you will fight Tanjiro. With that being said, we were both given a wooden sword. How am I supposed to use love breathing with a wooden sword? I asked. Let him use his real sword, Seini called out. With that, I pulled out my real sword and the master had a surprised look on his face. That blade, it looks the same as his, and he has the same red mark, he muttered. You ready? Seini yelled. Yes, with that, we both ran at each other with groundbreaking speed. Love breathing second form, love pangs. He barely dodged it and I used this moment to kick him in the side of the head, sending him flying to the side. I then followed up only for him to quickly have his wooden sword coming right at where my heart is. I barely dodged his attack by narrowly turning around and then slamming the back of my sword against the back of his head. That hurt, you son of a bitch, he yelled before saying wind breathing third form, clean storm wind tree. He hit me in many places, sending me flying back. As I was falling back I had another flashback, however not one with my dad this time. It was a man who looked strangely like me, only older and much more mature looking. Tanjiro, if you don't wish to use sun breathing currently, that is fine. However, at least use my strength that exists inside you, the man said while poking me on the forehead. I was then back into the battle, except I felt different. My senses felt sharpened. Seini was running toward me, however he seemed slow, almost as if he was walking. I then ran towards him with a neutral expression on my face as always. However, when I ran I felt as light as a feather. I quickly slammed my fist into his face, sending him flying backward, knocking him unconscious. After that, the world went back to normal. All Hashiras looked shocked to see that one of their strongest fighters was taken out with a punch. The winner is Tanjiro, the master said. Tanjiro, even if the master forgives you, I will never forgive you for stalking Mitsuri and stealing her technique, the masked Hashira said. Doesn't matter. I'll be leaving now, so goodbye. Oh wait, Tanjiro, your treatment is still not fully done, Shinobu said. If it wasn't fully done, then why would you let me fight? You probably wanted me to die while fighting, so I'll just leave to make this easier for everyone. With that, I left and everyone was speechless. Later that night, knock knock, come in, Shinobu said. With that, Mitsuri opened the door and walked inside. Shinobu, why? I asked sadly. Why would you let him fight if his injuries were still bad? Didn't you want him dead anyway? Why does it matter? I then slapped her across the face and said, you guys don't understand him. It's because of that is why he's so isolated and lonely in the first place. I'll tell you the truth of what really happened. With that, I told Shinobu everything about how they met and why Tanjiro is how he is. In the end, she was crying because she felt bad for wanting to kill someone who was just misunderstood. Sorry about slapping you earlier, I said. Don't worry about it, Shinobu said with her tears still rolling out. Do you know where Tanjiro went? Shinobu shook her head in response. Alright, well tomorrow I'll tell Master the truth about everything. Even if my status as Hashira gets revoked, I can't stand to have Tanjiro be shunned by everyone. Also, one last thing before I go, you may want to check the money storage here. What do you mean? Tanjiro has a habit of stealing from people he doesn't like. Even though it's bad, I think it's kinda cute, I said with a slightly blushed face. I then left and went walking to my second home here in the Demon Slayer Corps. Tanjiro, thank you for what you have done today. Even though I'm going to undo it, I know everything you did was for me. Tanjiro, I then cut off my thoughts with an extremely blushed face. No, we are only teacher and disciple, that's right. 10 weeks have passed since Tanjiro left. No one has seen him or even heard of him. When Mitsuri told the master and the other Hashira the truth about Tanjiro, I was surprised to find out that I wasn't in trouble for hiding it. In fact, they even asked me why I kept it hidden in the first place. I was now laying down on my bed thinking. They had sent multiple people from the Demon Slayer Corps to try and find him, but no one had been successful. Tanjiro, where are you? Is that the last thing I thought before finally going to bed. POV. I was one of the people sent out to go find this Tanjiro Kamado. Even though I work in the Butterfly Estate, I never got to see him once, but from the impression that I got from Shinobu, he seemed like a terrible guy. But then one day she came into my room and said, you are to try and find Tanjiro Kamado. He has black hair with reddish tips and a red mark on his forehead. If you find him, please tell him that I'm sorry. She said it rather quickly, but you could tell that she obviously felt terrible about all the bad things she had said about him before. I was walking through a nearby town when on the roof of one of the buildings I see the man who Shinobu described. To put one word, he looked beautiful. The moonlight shimmered down on him as he looked at the busy streets with eyes that looked empty. He bore no expression on his face and just continued to look at the people walking by. I quickly jumped up from behind him when faster than I could react, he already had a sword being held at my neck. I'm guessing you were sent here to kill me, he said emotionlessly. And no, I was not. I was sent here to find you though, I said nervously, hoping he wouldn't cut my head off. He then put his blade back, but then I realized something. He has 2 swords. How did he get another? Why do I even have to go back in the first place? I'm still doing my missions, Tanjiro said. Well, Mitsuri told everyone the truth about what happened, so Shinobu sent people to go find you so she can apologize. Don't need it. I already got my apology in the form of money. Ah yes, Shinobu did also mention how he robbed all of the money in the estate. Please just come back with me. Also, if you don't mind me asking, why do you have 2 swords? He looked at me and didn't respond for a while before saying, I can't use other breathing styles with the love breathing sword. Anyway, no more questions, let's go. I want to see that love for brains, idiot. With that, I led him all the way back home. Tanjiro POV. Over the past 10 weeks, a certain man kept on appearing in my dreams. When we first met, he gave me a wooden sword and did a breathing style I'd never seen before. He called it sun breathing. I spent the next 10 weeks trying to master all 13 forms, however I still have trouble with the 13th. I was also taught how to use the selfless state. It was the state that I was in during my fight with Seimi, where the world seemed slow, and my battle spirit completely disappeared. Now though, I was back at the Butterfly Estate and the first person I see is Shinobu and Kanao. Tanjiro, I am truly very sorry, Shinobu said while both of them bowed their heads. I didn't look at them and kept on walking. Next time, don't try to kill someone based on what you hear, do it on what you see. I couldn't see them, but it seemed like Shinobu broke out into tears again and Kanao seemed fairly sad but was not crying. As I kept walking with Ai to the master's house, I saw Mitsuri. I intently went ahead of Ai and grabbed her by the shirt and said, what the hell was that? You realize you jeopardized your whole career on what you did, right? Besides, I had to go against the whole Demon Slayer Corps for that. Although I still had a monotone voice, there was a hint of anger behind it. I couldn't stand to have you shunned for the rest of your life. I know you a lot better than you think I do, and I know you set everything up to protect me, but I couldn't possibly go through with that. You mean too much to me for you to disappear forever, not to mention when you went missing. Aye. Mitsuri then burst out into tears as I let go of her shirt and wrapped her in a hug. Sorry, I said in a monotone voice. However, soon as I did that, I felt a familiar blade press against my neck. Why is Mitsuri crying? He asked angrily. I'm happy to see him again. Why wouldn't I cry? I thought that he might have. Whhh. She then started bawling her eyes out again. He then put his sword away, pulled Mitsuri out of my arms, and started comforting her. I looked back at Ai, who seemed a little annoyed, but I figured it was nothing. We then continued walking with Mitsuri finally calming down. Master, I have brought him here, Ai said while bowing. Thank you. Now Tanjiro, I would like to discuss a promotion for you. The master started, since you have beaten a Hashira, normally you would take the place of the Hashira. But since we can't have two love-breathing pillars at the same time, so I will give you the rank of Kino and something of your wish. I accept. As for my request, I will tell you at a later date. One last thing, Tanjiro. How did you get a second sword? The master asked. I stole it from a dead demon slayer, I said emotionlessly. All the Hashira looked surprised except Sanmi, who suffered a humiliating defeat against me the last time I saw him. Mitsuri, the master said while looking at her with a sweat drop going down his forehead. I understand, master. I am working on him with that, Mitsuri responded. With that, the meeting ended and I started going back to the town when Shinobu stopped me. Tanjiro, you're welcome to continue to stay at our place. I just stole all of the money you had in there. Are you sure you want me back? I said. Well, although you did steal it, it doesn't matter now. Fine. Walking back would have been a hassle anyway. By the way, where is Boarhead and Blonde? They are still recovering from the fight, she responded as we walked to her home. With that, I finally went back to bed. I thought about the training that I had over the past 10 weeks. The man Yoriichi who had taught me sun breathing and the selfless state was now gone. He told me that the last time we met the rest of his soul will disappear from my body. But something he said before he went away still bothered me. He said, Tanjiro, in the future you will meet demons far beyond the power of anything you have seen. If you wish to beat Muzan, then you need more experience. If anyone can become stronger than me, it's you. With that, I finally drifted off to sleep. Tanjiro, you are to go to the Mugen train. There is a strong demon there. It was currently 3 AM, but I can't go back to sleep since my crow will keep yelling at me. When I got up, I noticed that there was someone sleeping on a chair next to my bed. It was Shinobu. I looked at her before getting up and heading to the train. As I was leaving, Inosuke and Zenitsu both ran up to me. Tanjiro, we have the same mission, Zenitsu said. Cool, I said back with a fake smile. We then proceeded to walk there with Inosuke talking about how strong he is and Zenitsu talking about some of the women he's seen so far. We were about halfway there, but I was getting tired of this. Someone had been tailing us from when we left, but since I didn't sense any hostility, I didn't do anything. I stopped walking and looked dead at a bush. Come out, you've been following us the whole time. Then there was a man leaving the bush. He had red, orange hair and he said, Whaha. I see you have great observation, Tanjiro. You've noticed from the start. Zenitsu and Inosuke didn't say anything, but soon Inosuke said, I noticed too. Well, I assume you're here for the train as well, I asked with a fake smile. Why is he smiling? He definitely gave off the vibes of someone that would never smile at the Hashira meeting. Must be because of those other two, the man thought. Yes, I am. I am Rengoku. Nice to meet you, he yelled. With that, the walk there only got noisier with Rengoku talking about how much he liked food. It was 9 PM when we finally arrived at the train and there was a line to get in. We handed the train inspector our tickets, but before I gave him mine I looked at him for a while. He seemed like he hadn't slept in days, not to mention he was the only train inspector when there were normally 3. Well, no choice, I thought. I figured this was a trap of some kind, but I didn't know exactly what, so I gave him my ticket. We then sat in our seats and before I knew it I had fallen asleep. Tanjiro's dream. Oh, brother, you're home, Nezuko yelled out as she wrapped me in a hug. I didn't say anything as I just looked at her. Brother, what's wrong? As soon as she asked, I grabbed her head and snapped her neck, killing her. I'm in a dream. This demon must have the ability to make people go to sleep. That would explain the train inspector as well. I looked for my 2 swords, but I couldn't see them. I was in my normal coal-selling outfit. Tanjiro, my mother called out as she seen Nezuko lying dead on the ground. She soon met my eyes, but not my fake eyes that I normally had up around them, my true eyes. The rest of the family was there as well, including my father. Tanjiro, what happened? Mother called out as she ran over to Nezuko with father right behind her. The rest of the family was too scared to move. How do I get out? I thought. I quickly came up with an idea as I walked to my house. Where are you going? My mother cried out with tears streaming out. Shut up, I said without looking at her as I kept walking. I finally made it to our house and grabbed an axe, and with that, I slammed it into my neck with full force. I then woke up to see everyone else on the train asleep, with some teenagers sleeping close to us with ropes attached to each of our arms. One of the boys was awake and it was the boy that had his rope attached to my arm. What kind of demon are you? He yelled as he undid the rope and ran away. Kids POV. When I tried to destroy the dream core, there were people leading me there. It looked to be a clear blue sky in the dream area, and it was beautiful, to say the least. But as soon as I saw the dream core, the people leading me there dragged me to the ground, and when I woke back up, I was in hell. Flames were all over the place, and there was one man standing among the flames. He looked like the boy's dream I was in, but he seemed more mature. "Leave here now if you don't wish to be hurt," he said to me. I was shocked at first that such a pure-looking dream area could have such a place in it. I can't do that. I then charged him with the small knife in my hand. However, before I even noticed it, his sword was right at my neck. Right before I died, I woke up and noticed the boy was also awake. I then ran for my life. That boy may have been a human, but he was definitely a devil under human skin. Tanjiro POV. I then quickly charged at the boy and pinned him down. "Where is the demon?" I asked while fighting my grip on his neck. I don't know," he cried back. I then killed him by stabbing him with one of my swords. I then noticed Rengoku had awakened Tanjiro. "Why did you kill him?" "He tried to kill me. It's only fair that I try the same back," I said as I removed the sword from his lifeless body. He then let out a sigh and said, "Listen, we have to protect the weak, not kill them. Do what you will, but I will stick to what I do best." I started anyway. "Let's find this demon." We both then ran to the front of the train and noticed that the demon scent was coming from on top of the train. I pinpointed the exact location and said, "Love breathing fourth form. Direct love." With that, I whip-like sword shot straight up and pierced through the train and went right to where the demon was. Unfortunately, he dodged it. We both then made our way to the top of the train to confront the demon. Hashira and the boy Master wants to kill. "Master is going to be so happy when I kill you." He then pointed his hands out and said, "Sleep." With that, we both fell asleep. In my dream this time though, it was Mitsuri, and she was yelling and screaming at me and telling me what a disgrace I am and how much she wished she never met me. I quickly killed myself since this time I had my swords. I then stared down at the demon and said nothing, but instead charged right at him. He kept on sending me to sleep, but I kept killing myself instantly, making it look like I was not falling asleep at all. Love breathing second form, love pangs. With that, I cut the demon's neck off. That was too easy for lower rank one, I thought, and just on cue the head of the demon had reconnected with the original body. "The train," I mumbled. Rengoku had finally woken up and asked Tanjiro what's going on. I guess he saw the demon reconnect his head. "Get everyone off the train. Wake up the other two if needed. The demon is the train itself," I said. And he immediately did what I said, but not without saying, "Tanjiro, be careful." With that, I turned my full attention to the demon. "Now let's go," I said quietly before charging at him. I quickly jumped back onto the train, and when I went back and there were tentacles coming out of the train's interior walls attacking the sleeping people. Rengoku, Inosuke, and Zenitsu were there to protect them. I paid them no mind though and ran to the front of the train once again while cutting all of the tentacles coming after me. I finally made it to the front and was about to cut off the front cart from the rest of the train, but the humanoid version of the demon was waiting. "Why won't you go to sleep? I gave you good dreams first and nightmares, but you still won't sleep. I can see why Master finds you annoying." I was on a train, so love breathing wasn't the most efficient, so I switched to my other katana and said sun breathing, third form, raging sun. After I cut him, I quickly turned my attention back to the train. Using sun breathing reduces how fast demons can regenerate, so I had enough time to cut the train. Sun breathing, second form, clear blue sky. HHH. The demon cried out. His body was now disintegrating right before me as I looked at his cut-up body. I then went to go find Rengoku and the others. If the train was the demon, that meant that there wasn't a lot of time before the whole train started to fall apart. I also noticed that a cat with a demon marking came aboard, and I realized it was Tameo. I gave the cat a vial of demon's blood and refocused. I ran to the back of the train and met Rengoku with no other passengers on there. "Everyone's off. We are good to go," he yelled. Then we both hopped off the train and met up with Zenitsu and Inosuke, who were with all the sleeping passengers. "Nice job, Tanjiro," Zenitsu said. "I could have done that," Inosuke yelled back. "Tanjiro, you are definitely on Hashira level. When we get back, I'll ask the master if we can have another love-breathing Hashira," Rengoku said with a smile. I don't want any more trouble than I already have," I said back. Then my eyes went wide as I saw all of the sleeping passengers immediately get killed by some dashing blue light. It was so fast I could barely see it. Rengoku and I turned right towards where the attack came from there, and there stood a demon who had upper rank 3 in his eye. "Why would you do that?" Rengoku yelled. "Why would I need a reason to kill weak people? My name is Akaza, by the way. Nice to meet you, Mr. Hashira," Akaza said. While they kept on talking, I immediately started to think of ways out. Currently, Zenitsu and Inosuke were useless and in shock from the attack that just happened. Sunrise was in 1 hour. If we could hold him for that long then we can win. But I doubt it will be that easy. Out of nowhere Akaza then appeared right in front of me with a fist about to slam into my face. I narrowly dodged and kicked him back in the stomach only for him not to budge. Oh, we do have another strong one here. This is going to be fun. Akaza yelled as he jumped back. Rengoku, those two are going to be useless. It's only us on this, I said as I walked up to him with my love-breathing katana currently pulled out. You too. Check for survivors. If none then run as fast as you can. Rengoku yelled as he pulled out his blade. This immediately pulled Inosuke and Zenitsu out of shock and they got to work. I immediately activated the selfless state. As soon as I did this Akaza's mood changed. Oi, what's with him? His battle spirit is completely gone. Rengoku looked at me but didn't see any difference in how I looked. Love breathing. First form, shivers of first love, I said as I quickly dashed up to Akaza. He quickly dodged and was about to follow up to a right punch but then Rengoku appeared right behind him and said flame breathing. First form, unknowing fire. Because of this Akaza was then forced to dodge and couldn't attack me. He jumped up into the air to dodge and then punched the air that let out shock waves that came right for us which I dodged easily while Rengoku seemed to have some difficulty with. Love breathing, second form love pangs. I then cut off one of his arms as he landed back on the ground. He then turned to me and said with a smile not bad. His arm then immediately grew right back. What a pain in the ass, I thought. Flame breathing, ninth form. Rengoku. He yelled as he also cut off his other arm of Akaza. H. You guys should become demons. With this kind of power the humans wouldn't stand a chance. Hell, you guys even might give me a challenge for my position. Akaza then regrew his other arm that got cut off. What do you say? Rengoku could be the flame demon while the other could be the invisible demon. Why invisible? Asked Rengoku. I guess you can't see it. For someone like me who uses battle aura as a form of sight he is practically invisible to me. I have to rely on my own vision for it because for some reason he has none. Never mind the nicknames though, what do you say about the offer? I'm sure Master will be pleased to see 2 Hashira level opponents turn into his underlings. Never in a million years. Rengoku yelled. I didn't say anything though. Lee from a while ago might have taken him on his offer. After all, demons don't age, they can regenerate. And they can have abilities that would allow me to kill time by using, but now there was no way. I could never betray the trust the Mitsuri had given me. Never. How unfortunate. Then I'm afraid you both will have to die. His eyes then got serious and he speed blitzed right toward Rengoku. I could react if it were me but Rengoku was too far away. But I still tried a last-ditch effort by turning my blade whip-like and trying to cut off his hands before it was too late. But unfortunately it already was. Akaza had pierced Rengoku using his bare hand. Rengoku yelled. To my surprise, however, it was not a cry of pain but rather a battle cry as he readied his blade. Flame breathing, 5th form, flame tiger. I was surprised he didn't use the other breathing since his 9th form was way more powerful, but I figured that he didn't have enough stamina to do it twice in a row. He cut up Akaza but kept his arm in his chest making him stay right next to him. Akaza was clearly in pain but took the beating trying to give a last effort to convince Rengoku to become a demon. I didn't waste this chance though as I said love breathing, 7th form, harem ending. This was my own custom sword style that I mastered with Yoriichi as well. My blade wrapped around the demon's neck and once I yanked that blade the demon's head would come right off. Akaza realizing what was coming tried his hardest to break away but Rengoku held him there. Damn you, he yelled as he ripped his own arm off and dodged my attack by leaping mid-air again. Love breathing, 5th form, swaying love, wild claw. I then cut off Akaza's arm again with much of his body, although this isn't what seemed to bother him as he looked off in the distance. The sun was rising. He then landed and bolted toward the forest. I tried to follow but he was too fast for me. Damn it all, as soon as I have a chance to kill an upper moon, I thought. I then turned back to Rengoku was on his knees with blood pouring out of his mouth. I deactivated the selfless state and went over to him. I then noticed that Zenitsu and Inosuke were still there which improved how I thought about them a little bit. Tanjiro, I'm sorry. If I only held him there a little longer, we could have killed him, I said finishing off his sentence. Yes, Rengoku said with a hole in his chest. Like this. I didn't say anything after that, I only sat there with him. After a few seconds, I decided to speak up. I could have done more. There was no reason for you to die. If I were paying more attention then maybe I could have saved you, I said emotionlessly. Although a person was right in front of me dying, I didn't feel sadness or sympathy. I only felt empty. I assumed this emptiness was from the fact that I could have done more. Don't say that. My final request, Tanjiro. I want you to take my Hashira position. Of all the things to ask me, I thought. I was going to deny him but I felt something hold me back from saying so. Fine, thank you, he said with tears rolling down his eyes. He then collapsed and Inosuke and Zenitsu started bawling their eyes out. I didn't cry though. I picked up his dead body and walked back to HQ with the knowledge that I had truly not gotten that much stronger. Even after all the training, if it weren't for Rengoku I may have been the one who died. We then walked all the way back without a single word being said as I carried Rengoku in my arms. Everyone was immediately around me with saddened looks on their faces as they looked at the dead Rengoku I held in my arms. I gave him to one of the Hashiras with a scar over both his eyes and then proceeded to leave. No one tried to stop me. They probably figured I was too sad to talk about what happened. I laid in bed and thought about what I would do. Should I honor Rengoku's wishes and take over his post? As I thought about it, Mitsuri and Shinobu opened the door to the room where I was staying. Tanjiro, if you don't mind, can you tell us what happened? Shinobu asked. Sure, I said. I then explained everything that had happened. Their faces turned pale when they learned that Rengoku and I fought Upper Moon 3. Tanjiro, please be more careful, Mitsuri said. What do you want me to do? I can't predict where an upper moon will be. I know, but still, you could have lost your life during that fight. You do realize that, right? I get why she was asking. Since she could see through me, she could tell how I wished I could have done more. It doesn't matter, I'll do whatever I want to, I said. Okay Mitsuri, let's leave Tanjiro alone for a while. By the way, tomorrow Master wants to meet you with the rest of the Hashira, Shinobu said as they were leaving. After a while after they left, I left as well and went on a walk. I thought long and hard about whether I was going to accept the request. After a while of walking I turned around. Another person seemed to be spying on me, however he was much better at tailing people than Rengoku. Come out, I said as I put a hand on my katana. Oh, so you really are something, the man said as he left the bush. It was Tenjin Uzui, the Sound Hashira. What do you want? I asked. Well, I heard that we would be going on a mission soon together, so I thought I would get to know you, he said with a smile. When are we leaving? No idea, however, the spies I have planted where we are going say that they may be an upper moon there. I didn't show it on my face, but as soon as he said that I got reminded of what just happened with Akaza. Let's talk later, I said as I started walking away. He then left, leaving me to deal with my own thoughts. What could I have done better? Should I have done something else? Yoriichi said that I was strong, but am I really? After a while of thinking, I realized something. After spending all that time with Mitsuri, I have started to grow soft. Before I would have never have even thought twice about this matter, but now I can't stop thinking about it. So it's my mindset, I told myself. From then I swore that I would stick to how I always was. I would never let myself show weakness or sympathy. After all, that was how I always had gotten by. I went back to the butterfly estate to relax in my room. I had sworn to always be how I always was, therefore I would not accept Rengoku's request. That was probably what the master wanted to talk to me about anyway, since Zenitsu or Inosuke most likely told them. The next day came and I was on my way to meet the master. When I arrived, all the other Hashira were already there kneeling, however this time I stood tall standing. This clearly made some of the Hashira mad, but they didn't speak out about it. Tanjiro, I'm sure you know why you're here, the master started. Yes, about Rengoku's final request. I am willing to make an exception to have 2 love-breathing pillars, so what do you say? I am turning down his request, I said bluntly. This surprised everybody that was listening, but most surprised was Shinobu, who looked completely shocked while Mitsuri looked like she was about to cry. Then may I ask why? The master asked. I don't want to. Simple enough. You bastard. Seimi yelled while grabbing me by my collar. Want to fight again? I asked while staring at him in the eyes. He then dropped me down but wouldn't stop glaring at me. Wait Tanjiro, why? Mitsuri asked. But as soon as she saw my eyes again, her heart broke. She realized that all the time she had spent trying to show me love had all been reversed. I was now the same person that she first met, and realizing this she broke into tears. I then left without turning around once. The days went by without anyone trying to talk to me, which I figured. Mitsuri would probably give up on me now, knowing that all of her work had been for nothing, and Shinobu and Kanao would stop because of how cold I had been. Just then though, there was a knock on my door. Our mission came in, said Uzui, who still had a smile on his face. Entertainment District. You, me, and your 2 followers, plus the flower lady. When do we leave? Right now. I then got up to meet with my group. Zenitsu and Inosuke looked away from me, so I assumed they heard about what happened, and Kanao seemed to be in a dilemma about whether to speak to me or not. Listen closely, I am a god, to be more precise the god of festivals. If I tell you to bark, you bark. If I tell you to dance, you dance. Understand? Uzui yelled out. No one said anything but just stared at him. I am the god of the mountain. Pleasure to meet you, god of festivals. Inosuke yelled back. What the hell? You're a weird kid. Inosuke then turned his head to the side, but then Uzui spoke up again. Let's head out. As we were walking to our destination, Yuzui filled us in on our mission to go to the entertainment district and kill the upper moon that was staying there. While on the surface everyone seemed to be talking with a smile except me, I could tell everyone was wary of me. We finally reached the entertainment district at 9 p.m. so it was filled with people. "Okay, I have a plan for everyone," Yuzui yelled. "Dress up as girls and infiltrate the main houses here." On paper, it wasn't a bad plan. We could easily get the info we needed, but there was one issue. I would not even think about doing it. "Nope," I said as I left Inosuke and Zenitsu behind. I ran along the rooftops while looking around to see which places had the most people and where the warren was. I figured Yuzui wouldn't be chasing me since it would just hinder our mission, so I had free roam to do what I wanted for right now. I looked around for a few hours until it was midnight. Then a beautiful woman came out and was surrounded by many people. However, she also had the smell of a demon on her. Must be the warren and or upper moon 6, I thought. I quickly memorized her face and went to go check in for the night. At the hotel, there were many women who tried to lure me into their rooms, but I just ignored them and went to sleep. The next morning came and I got out of bed and continued to scout my surroundings. I noticed that Inosuke and Zenitsu were forced to play along with Yuzui's plan and were currently dressed as girls. As I was looking though, Yuzui appeared right next to me. "What do you plan to do?" Yuzui asked. "I have a plan in mind. Just don't get too involved right now and it should work fine," I shot back emotionlessly. "To be honest, you're not really that flashy. Flashiness is what can get you killed." He then left after I said that and I continued to scout until it was sunset and made way for the house where the warren was staying in and hid my swords. "Hello, I would like a night with the warren please," I stated. "I'm sorry sir, but currently the men who stay with the Orient have gone missing. Also the fee is quite high." The woman responded. She seemed genuinely worried, so I told her I have the money to pay it off, and regardless I would still like to meet her. I then took out all of the money I had stolen from the butterfly estate and put it on the table. The woman's eyes seemed to go wide at seeing this. "This could let you see her for a whole week," she cried. "Then let's do that." I originally planned to only use that money for lodging and for food, but using on this would have to do. She then collected the money and ran upstairs. After a few minutes she came back down and told me to head upstairs to see her right now. I made my way up the stairs as the smell of a demon got stronger, and when I opened the door I saw her, upper moon 6. Although she greeted me with a smile, I could tell that she was going to kill me soon. I quickly took a seat on one of the mats on the floor. "I'm Tanjiro Kamado, nice to meet you," I said in a way that made me seem like I was not afraid of anything. This shocked her for a moment, considering that most people would be too stunned by her beauty and would always try to sleep with her right away. "No, the pleasure's all mine," she responded with a smile. "To be honest, I have no intention whatsoever of touching you or anything. I just want to talk." "Do you not find me attractive?" she asked, but I could tell that she would attack me right then and there if I said the wrong answer. "I do. In fact, I would say you are the prettiest woman I have ever met, which is why I figured you could understand my problems," I lied. "Oh, very well then, if you only wish to speak, please make it quick though. I will be here for all of this week, so it doesn't really matter how long I take." I was giving off an arrogant attitude since I figured that was the best way to handle the conversation I was going to bring up. "I see. Well then, please tell me your issues then." "Well, you see, I hate people in every single way possible. They're weak, stupid, and they reach for the moon when they can barely survive themselves." This surprised her as she had a surprised look on her face, but she then responded, "Why would you tell me about this? Surely you can understand where I'm coming from. Haven't you had people that come talk to you do all of these things? Whenever I talk about it to a normal person, they get mad at me and refuse to talk, which is why I figured you would understand me best," I said with a bewitching smile on my face. Her face then got serious, almost as if she was trying to read me but got nothing from it, so she spoke up again. "I do understand that. People always try to take advantage of me whenever they see me, however you seem to be different. I am willing to talk to you about this." "I see, then let's get some sake in here," I said with an arrogant smile on my face. We then talked all the way into the morning about everything, although we never once talked about work, you could say. "Alright, well I'll see you later today," I said drunk as I made my way back to my hotel room. As I crashed into the bed, Yuzui appeared. "Where have you been?" Hiccup. "Oh, I've been working. I managed to get out." "You really?" Yuzui said, but I blacked out before he could finish. When I woke up later that day, he was gone and I made my way back to see the Orient. Days went by and we became good friends, talking about how much we hated people and whatnot, and I become someone important in her eyes. "Well, Hiccup, it seems this is my last day with you. I have had so much fun these past few days," I said, faking that I was drunk. Since Daki was a demon, she wasn't drunk, but she responded like she was. "Same here. You know, you could join me here as a servant of mine." No, I could never do that. But one last thing. I then moved my faked blushed face close to her blushed face, close enough to feel each other's breath. Close your eyes, I said with a playboy-like smile. She did so and moved her face forward, expecting a kiss on the lips, only to be met with a sword right at her neck, chopping it clean off. What? She said. That was way too easy, I said, letting go of the act that I was putting up. No. She then started crying. I loved you. Why? I thought we both hated humans and could get along. Why are you a demon slayer? She was now bawling her eyes out, but something concerned me. Her head was not disappearing. It's as I thought. She's not really Upper Moon 6. I figured by how strong her demon scent was compared to Akaza, and the difference was so much that there was no way she was an Upper Moon. I quickly jumped out the window and screamed Uzui. Almost immediately Uzui was there. Is it here? He asked. Don't let your guard down. Upper Moon 6 is 2 people. Just then I smelled a demon scent that was worthy to be called an Upper Moon. My little sister, why did you fall for a guy like that? His voice was raspy. The brother, she called out. It's alright, Daki. Your big bro Jutaro will take care of these demon slayers. And with that, the real Upper Moon 6 showed himself outside on the roof where both Uzui and I were. What came out, to say the least, was ugly. He was skinny as can be and had a horrible looking face, but he seemed to have a strength that made up for that part about him. Thankfully, I had chosen to attack Daki near sunrise, so just in case this got out of hand, we can play for time. As soon as Jayataro was about to attack us, both Zenitsu and Inosuke came. What the hell even is that? Zenitsu yelled when he saw Jayataro. Man, you get on my nerves. I kill you after I kill that one, he says while pointing at me. Where is the butterfly girl? I asked. She's currently helping my wives escape. Afterwards she will help us out. As soon as he finished, Jayataro charged at him with his many scythes in each hand. I quickly grabbed the back of his shirt, pulled him back, and pulled out my sword to try and attack him here. But he quickly backed up a little bit as well. I also now went into the selfless state. Damn, this is going to be a pain. Zenitsu, Inosuke, kill the girl. Can I join you when she comes back? They both nodded and started clashing with her. Sun breathing, 4th form, burning bones, summer sun. I charged forward, but he quickly jumped back and sliced down towards me. I was about to jump to dodge, but then I saw Uzui in my peripheral vision, so I didn't flinch. Sound breathing, 1st form, roar. Uzui slammed both of his blades right where Jayataro was, making him unable to connect his attack fully. I didn't waste the chance and said sun breathing, 3rd form, raging sun. I managed to swift cut him in multiple places, but I was still unable to cut off his head. You're being difficult. I'll go for that one. Jayataro then leaped right past and swung aside down right where Uzui was. He managed to dodge, but he still got cut and sniff, yup, as I thought. Poison. You won't be able to last long, Hashira. Now that leaves the more troublesome Hashira, he said, completely forgetting about Uzui. What makes you think I'm done? He yelled as he swung his sword at him, which Jayataro dodged while explaining. I poisoned you. No way you're going to survive a poison that lethal. Too bad then, because I have a resistance to poison. They continued to go back and forth with both sides getting cuts on each other. While they were going at it, I turned to see how Zenitsu and Inosuke were doing. They seemed to be evenly matched, but I could also see Kanao on her way, so we had to make this fast. I quickly switched my katana and said love breathing, 2nd form, love pangs. I quickly cut off one of Jayataro's arms and switched to my other katana seamlessly. Sun breathing. 3rd, I was suddenly cut off by his arm, regenerating immediately, so I quickly jumped backward. Does this demon have faster healing than Akaza? Or did Akaza take us that lightly? I figured the latter. Man, you guys are annoying. I just want to protect my sweet little sister, he said while scratching his face. Love breathing, 5th form, swaying love, wild claw. I then quickly cut off Jayataro's arm again, and Uzui moved in, although moving much slower than normal due to the poison. Sound breathing, 5th form, string performance. Uzui then proceeded to blitz Jayataro at alarming speeds, making Jayataro surprised based on the difference in fighting ability. I found your score, he yelled. I quickly jumped in as I said sun breathing, 4th form, burning bones, summer sun. Uzui and I moved perfectly in sync, not missing a beat of any of our movements. We were basically one person as 2 people. Jayataro, who previously had the advantage, was now fully focused on being defensive. The sun would be rising in about 20 more minutes, so he didn't have time on his side, and before he knew it, Uzui and I had cut off his head, my blade coming from the right and his blade from the left. He then tried to regenerate, only for nothing to happen. Then his eyes widened as he realized something. He was going to die today. Daki's head had been cut off at the same time thanks to Kanao joining in. It was too difficult for Daki to keep up, meaning that they were waiting on us to kill Jayataro before moving in. D brother, how can you lose? I thought you were strong, you ugly bastard. Daki yelled. Shut up. How can you be so weak to be killed by people that aren't even Hashira? You only have a pretty face and that's it. As the demons yelled at one another, I spoke up. Shut the hell up, you'll wake people. No, you shut the hell up. We're demons, we're much stronger than you. Daki yelled. Then explain why your head is under my foot. Daki's head was sent flying when it was cut off, sending it towards us. I also used this time to take a sample of blood when no one was looking. She didn't respond, she only glared at me, and with that, they both turned into ash. I quickly gave to the blood to Tameo's cat that was hidden. Then faced Yuzui, who was currently dying, and Kanao was treating him. Kanao had learned things from Shinobu, so it looked like Yuzui would survive another day. You're insane, man. Yuzui said the fact that you can keep up with me, and the fact that you could probably have beaten that demon without me. He sounded more disappointed in himself than anything, but I wasn't going to say anything. Are my wives okay? He asked Kanao. Yes, all of them are safe. They wanted to come with me, but I told them no. It sounds like him. Then out of nowhere another Hashira showed up. I think his name was Obanai. Wow, took you guys a while, but you really took out the demon. He muttered. Yay, Tanjiro put in work and so did the others. I see. He said, glaring at me. Well, hopefully you'll be at work tomorrow, so rest up for today. Wait, what? I just fought an upper moon, don't I get a day off? Hell no, I fight to the death every day as well, but I don't get any days off. I'm taking some time off, just for a little bit though. I want to spend some time with my wives. Do as you will, he said, clearly irritated. Also, Tanjiro, Mitsuri has a message for you. Please see me when you come back. That's all. Then he ran off. Mitsuri really knows me that well. I wondered. I planned to just hide to avoid any confrontation since that would be a pain, but since Obanai knows, I kind of have to unless I want to be attacked every day. Man, what a pain. We were now on the way back to HQ. Hey Tanjiro, Kano asked. Well, thank you for not killing anyone for this mission. They didn't need to be, so there weren't any. Still though, I'm glad you're safe after battling an upper moon. Must have been tough, huh? She asked with a smile. I thought back to Akaza and remembered how much stronger than he was than Jayataro. No, it was easy. With that, I walked ahead of her. Time skip. We were now back at HQ and were being flooded with questions such as their strength and abilities and whatnot. After it was over, it was near midnight, so I went to Mitsuri's place and knocked on the door. After a while, a very sleepy Mitsuri answered. Oh, Tanjiro, I thought you would be coming tomorrow. No, I am here now, so tell me. Well, I want you to know that I don't plan on giving up on you. I heard from Kanao too that you didn't kill anyone, so I know that this may not mean a lot to you, but I am proud, she said with a smile only an angel could have. Badum, I see. Well, is that everything? Yup, keep up the work. With that, I left to go back to the butterfly estate, only to see Shinobu waiting on the porch. Welcome back, she said with a smile. Thanks, I plan to keep walking inside back. She grabbed my wrist. Wait, I know you just got back, but can we talk? She seemed sad, so I figured I'd at least listen for a little while. Sure, thank you. Follow me please. With that, she led me into her room, which was very organized and nice. She sat on the bed and began to talk. I'm not sure you have heard, but do know the name of Kani? Yay, the other butterfly Hashira that passed, correct? Yes, she was my sister. I knew about that, but I didn't want to bring it up to not ruin the flow of the conversation. One day she talked to me, claiming to have found a demon that was not interested in hurting humans. She would go to see him every day, but one day she never came home. It turned out that the demon that she pleaded for that was innocent was Upper Moon too. They battled for the whole night before she finally died to him. Tears were starting to roll out of her face as she spoke. I thought about Tameo. I didn't trust her at first, but now she is one of the people I know I can use if it comes down to it. I'm sorry to hear about that, I said, not expressing anything on my face. That's why I have always hated demons. That is my motivation for being a demon slayer, just to kill Upper Moon too. I'm not as strong as him, but I want to at least be able to kill him. How are going to do that? I asked, although I had a good guess on what the answer might be. Every day I inject my body with wisteria. That way when he absorbs me I can kill him with me. Now tears were rolling out like a river. If that's what you really plan to do, I won't stop you. But then I will say this. You're useless. What? She asked in a somewhat angry voice. If you plan to sacrifice yourself, what's the point in trying? If that is what you want to do, then let him absorb you right away. My words were harsh, but that was what she needed right now. Do you know what it's like? She then cut herself off, remembering what Mitsuri told her about my family. Then, what should I do? Tears were still rolling out at this point and she was broken right now. I see you as a threat, Shinobu. After saying this, she looked at me with confusion, with her eyes still watery. You have something that many other demon slayers don't have, and that's... I then pointed my finger at my head of brain. What do you mean? You're smart. Sure enough, others may have more experience, but in and out of a fight you can think. If you can do that much, then you can find the answer to why sacrificing yourself is you being useless. I am not being arrogant when I say that I can beat any Hashira, not only because I am strong, but because I am smart. Shinobu didn't say anything for a while, only zoned out. I was about to leave when she grabbed me again. Can you please stay with me for tonight? Her cheeks were flushed, but she still looked sad. I want my 8 hours, is what I wanted to say, but if I left that would probably affect her mental state a lot. Fine. With that, we both crawled into bed with her hugging me from behind. The next morning when I woke up, I heard footsteps. I woke up because being seen sleeping in the same bed as Shinobu would lead to misunderstandings. Then I noticed something. I was naked. I looked over at Shinobu, who was still asleep, but she was only in a bra and underwear. Hey, Shinobu, can you help me find Tanjiro? She opened the door without knocking. A fatal mistake. Shinobu now woke up and looked over at Mitsuri. Oh shit. I heard her mutter. Hey, Mitsuri asked in a deadly serious voice, why are you both in bed practically naked? She couldn't see that I was fully nude, so I was thankful, but how do I talk my way out of this? Can I even do that? I was about to start when Shinobu started. I asked him to stay in here with me for tonight. Since it was hot, I asked if he was comfortable sleeping next to me without many clothes on, and he said it was fine and took off his shirt as well. Mitsuri glared at me but couldn't read anything because of my constant poker face I had on. HMPH. I just wanted to tell you we have a mission in a few weeks. With that, she slammed the door. I looked over at Shinobu. Care to explain? Well, everything I said was true, but I didn't ask for your consent with anything. Also, nothing happened besides sleeping, so it's not a crime. I just looked at her with a really look on my face. Your clothes are over there. She pointed to the corner of the room. Do you mind leaving for a second so I can change? The covers were still helping keep Excalibur hidden, so I figured it was best for her to leave. Fine, fine. She got up with some of her clothes and was about to leave when she added, also, thank you for listening to me. If I knew this was gonna happen, I would not have, I thought. She then left and I got changed and wanted to meet up with Mitsuri to hear about the mission. Hey, what was the mission about? I asked her as she was walking around. HMPH. She then turned away. It's about, I forgot, another Hashira said. I believe his name was Muakairo. He seemed always zoned out, so I never chatted with him. Not that I really chatted with the ones I didn't already know. Can you remember? Who are you? I then left and went to the master. Hey, I heard we had a mission. Can I hear the details? He was sitting on the porch with his son and daughter helping him out. You will be going to the wordsmith village with Muakairo and Mitsuri. Rumors are that there are powerful demons ready to attack. You are leaving 3 weeks from today. I see. Thank you. I then left and pondered what I would do for the next few days. I figured I would train, but I didn't know what would be useful. I then figured I would train in hand-to-hand combat for a while. I got some martial art books and trained that in swordsmanship for 3 weeks until the day the mission came. It was early in the morning when we were starting to leave. I was leaving with Muakairo since Mitsuri left earlier in the morning. As walked away out, he said, I have to. Never mind, I forgot. This guy really. We walked all the way there, and when we did, I was immediately jumped by some guys in weird masks. Who is he? One yelled as he threw a punch that I dodged. He is not a Hashira. Another one yelled as he tried to punch me as well. Get him. A third one yelled as he tried to hit me with a katana. Wait, hold on. Guys, Muakairo tried to stand up for me, but to no avail as he wasn't being loud enough. TCH. Guess I gotta take care of this. I had been practicing hand-to-hand combat for a while, so I was confident I could take them down with ease. Wait, a voice yelled. I looked over, and who else would it be besides Mitsuri? He knows the way here though, Lady Mitsuri. One of them yelled. He is stronger than me. He is Hashira level, but he declined the title. She then turned to Muakairo. You were supposed to put on the blindfold just in case. Oh, I forgot. Skull. Everyone's reaction. Well, I apologize then, Mr. Tanjiro. No need for honorifics. Ah, okay. Well, thank you all for being here to help us out. The demon's activity has been getting higher, so we wanted to be safe. Ah, no worries, Mitsuri said with a smile. I followed one of the masked people who showed me to my room, which just so happened to be the same as Mitsuri's. Why am I in the same room as her? Oh, that's because she asked. He got cut off by Mitsuri throwing him out the door. Oh, it was just coincidence, nothing else. Don't give me that. He was just about to say you asked for it. By the way, have you heard? The hot springs here are amazing. Oh, cool. Want to go check them out later. I want to go to sleep for right now. It was currently night out and I had been walking all day, so I was fairly tired. HMPH. Alright, fine. Don't think I've forgiven you about the Shinobu thing, by the way. I told you nothing happened. Why do you care anyway? Well, I mean, it could distract you from your work. Well, good night. Wait. Fine, I forgive you as long as I can sleep in your bed as well. Shinobu did what she did without my permission, so it doesn't matter. Just sleep in your own bed. Fine then. We both lay down and went to sleep. Why me? Was the first thing I mumbled when I woke up. Mitsuri was currently sleeping next to me in nothing but underwear and a bra. At least for me, I was still in underwear this time. This has to be some sort of crime, right? As I thought about it, Mitsuri woke up. Oi, explain. Well, you said that Shinobu did this to you without permission, so I did the same. I'm getting a new room. I then got up and started changing. Wait. I won't do it again, so, please. I didn't do anything else too. I swear. Mitsuri looked like she was about to start crying, so I said, one more chance. I finished getting changed and headed out. I asked the locals here about what to do and what not, and they brought up two things. One is the hot springs and two is the training machine. I headed more to the machine in question and noticed right away that this was meant to copy Yorichi. Someone also told me that it had 6 arms to make up for the speed that it couldn't make with what it had. I went up to it with my sun-breathing katana in hand. I started it up and it was nothing like the real thing. I had trained with Yorichi for a while, and this doll was nothing more than a cheap copy. I kept up with all of the attacks and blocked each one. This went on for 10 minutes before the training was over. When it stopped, I turned around to see everyone with a shocked expression. Except for Muichiro, of course, who seemed content at looking at a bee on a flower. Ew, how did you keep up with that? One of the people yelled. He seemed to be the leader since everyone made way for him. I just parried the hits. That's not the point. This was supposed to replicate Yorichi's speed. That was nowhere near his attack speed, but I'll play along. Oh, don't tell me. This is amazing. You should be way happier. I didn't feel anything though. Sure enough, it would be good training regardless of how easy it was, but still. Well, since you are the person who beat it, I have a gift for you. He brought out a katana, but this one looked identical to the one Yorichi had. This was his blade. We believe that whoever beat this puppet was supposed to receive this sword. Please accept. I already have 2 swords, so I'm okay. What was I supposed to do with 3 swords? Put one in my mouth or something? But this was the same sword that Yorichi used. At the very least, please take it as a family keepsake. Okay then. Nice job, Tanjiro. Mitsuri yelled as she hugged me from behind. I could barely keep up with it the way you did. Thanks. Well, let's go hit the hot springs then. I didn't need to take a bath, so I figured I would go with her. We headed there after everyone left. Hey, Tanjiro, go in the co-ed one with me. Her face was blushed. This was not a good idea. I think it's better for me to go into the boys' one since you know I'm a boy. Don't be like that. Come here. She then grabbed me by my collar and dragged me in there. She at least let me keep a towel on my lower half so Holy Sword Excalibur didn't get unsealed. Mitsuri also kept a towel on that covered her whole body. As we walked in, we realized that we were the only ones in here. I looked over at Mitsuri, who looked like she expected this. Good thing I bought this place out for today, Mitsuri thought. We both sat down in the tub with an awkward silence between us. Water's nice, huh, Tanjiro? How's your training coming along? Good. Why did I bring him here? Mitsuri thought, clearly distressed. I, on the other hand, was just relaxing in the warm water. After another 30 or so minutes, I shot my head up. I smelled demons around, and they were strong too. I stood up only for my towel to fall off. Mitsuri, who looked over and me shooting up, was in shock and embarrassment. It's a T-Rex, she thought. She quickly snapped herself out of it though. Tanjiro, are they here? Yeah, they're strong too. We both quickly got dressed and headed out. We both dashed outside and saw that Muakairo was already fighting a demon. The demon was coming out of a vase. He had many eyes and had Upper Moon 5 written on his eye. When even Muakairo was about to land an attack, he switched to another vase. Kehel, I haven't gotten to fight a Hashira in so long. 1,000 needlefish kill. Tons of fish came out of a pot nearby and flew at Muakairo. Well, help. Mitsuri jumped in and deflected all the attacks. Muakairo seemed to be alive, you could say. He no longer seemed super aloof. He appeared focused. Mitsuri, there's still another demon here that's stronger. Leave this one to Muakairo. What? No way, that scaredy cat is stronger than me. The demon yelled. Muakairo, can you handle it? Mitsuri asked, ignoring the demon. Yes, alright then, let's go, Tanjiro. We then took off, leaving Muakairo to fight off Upper Moon 5 alone. As we ran toward to where the smell of the demon was the strongest, I noticed that people were dying all over the place, or very badly injured. Soon enough, we reached the demon doing all the damage. He had a pole in his hand and seemed to have electricity running around him. Are you the Hashira they assigned? Very well then, let us play a little. A coward? He doesn't seem like one. His body then began to morph, pulling out another demon that had wings. Why must I always fight demons that have multiple bodies? I wondered. Now we can do a 2-on-2. Try not to let me down. Mitsuri, your job is to find the real demon. He is most likely hiding since Upper Moon 5 said he was a coward. What about you though? They will die as soon as the main body dies. I can hold them off. Alright then, be safe. She then took off and I went into the selfless state. Now it's a 2v1. This isn't very fair, but since you decided to split up, I suppose it's fine. Don't worry, I'm sure I won't disappoint. I then charged in with my normal katana and started slashing at the demon with electricity. He dodged and jumped into the air and summoned electricity to fall on me. Ouch. I quickly switched katanas and jumped into the air, love breathing. Third form, cat love shower. I slashed at both demons at the same time, injuring both of them. I landed and charged at the winged demon, who proceeded to fly higher and started to launch a sound attack. I quickly used my whip katana and sliced off the head and landed again. My ears though had a very loud ring in them currently. I quickly moved again as I knew the other demon was still on the move, and as I predicted, he launched lightning right where I was standing a second ago. The demon whose head I chopped off quickly morphed and another demon appeared, making it a 3v1. The new demon put his hand forward and the tree branches all started chasing me. I jumped and dodged only for the winged demon to appear right behind me. I jumped very quickly to avoid the sound attack, but when I jumped, the original demon summoned lightning down and it hit me without any room to lessen the damage. I landed and jumped backward. I soon realized something though. The attack hit me mid-air, which should have hurt the most since I couldn't conduct the electricity to something even if it was a little bit. But it only hurt as bad as it did when I was hit the first time. Which meant one of two things. One, this demon's blood demon art only attacks the target and the target only, or the demons get weaker the more it splits up. I decided to test my theory. I charged at the winged demon once again and took the sound attack head on, and like I thought, this one was a little weaker than it was last time. I landed again and backed up. My ears were ringing loudly and I had burn marks because of the electricity. The other one seemed to control wood, which was an issue. Luckily, I only needed to buy time. I then charged at the wood demon. He sent more sharp branches towards me, which I dodged and slashed at his head. He dodged by ducking his head. Right when I was about to pull out the other katana, I heard the sound of wings flapping right behind me. I drew my sword and said, "Sun breathing, third from raging sun," while turning around. I then chopped off the flying demon's head again and another demon came out of his body. I jumped back, but as I did, lightning was stuck at me. Then all of a sudden a spear was thrown at me. I barely dodged as I moved my head to the side, but it still cut my cheek. Then a whole tree trunk was charging right at me like it was being rapidly growing. I dodged it by jumping to the side. Normally I would just jump on it and charge right at the demon, but the more I cut them, the more they multiplied. I had no idea how many they had, so it was in my best interest just to let Mitsuri find the main body. Time continued to pass with me fully being on the defensive. This was clearly upsetting the demons, but I only needed Mitsuri to do her job, so I didn't really care. Nearly an hour later and one of the demon's eyes went wide. She found the main body. "I'll go help master, you guys stay here and deal with that one." "You think I'll let you?" I said. Since she found the body, I can now let loose a little. Lately, I had been noticing something. Whenever I fight, I can almost see the insides of demons. I can see their heart beating and their bones moving. Yoriichi told me that there was still one more power to learn, however it could not be taught. I believe this is what it was. I grasped the feeling of it and embraced it. And when it did, the world seemed hollow. I saw all demons' hearts and blood. The electric demon started to run, and faster than I had been moving before. I had already run up to him and chopped off his head. "Damn you," he yelled as his body regenerated. "No new ones," I noted. I then proceed to charge the other one's sun breathing, fourth form, burning bones, summer sun. I then slashed at all the demons and even cut off the wood demon's head. "Hold him, I have to go right now. Karaku is the only one with master right now," the electric demon yelled. "It's not that easy." They then started to yell as I just stood there. The more time they wasted, the better. "Damn, alright, kill this human with everything we got," he yelled. They all charged at me, but it was too late. They hadn't even realized it yet, but their body was already falling apart and all of them disintegrated right in front of me. A few moments later, Mitsuri ran up to me. "Ah, Tanjiro, you're okay." "Yay, nice job," I said. "Haha, thanks. Anyway, though I should thank you, you held them all off. Also, thanks for relying on me." She was very blushed when she spoke. "I guess I did, huh?" I muttered. "Anyway, is Muakairo's fight done?" "Yes, it turns out he won as well." "I see." With 3 upper moons dead, this was a new light of hope humanity had never seen. I knew that, but because of that it also would mean that Musen would be on the move soon. The final battle would be approaching soon. We were now back at HQ and were reporting to the master. "Wow, that is amazing. The time for change is coming soon. Muzan himself will probably be moving soon though. The master started. Master, if it's okay to recommend, I'd like to say that we start to train all demon slayers for the last fight. Good idea, Mitsuri. After that, the master called all Hashiras to him. Everyone, we will soon be having the last fight with the demons. The time has come to finally eradicate the world from this curse. In order to do that though, we need to train some more, so for now all Hashiras are expected to help out for training. You will no longer be going on missions. All Hashiras immediately nodded their heads. No one dared go against his word. Alright, training will start in 1 week's time. Have everything ready by then. YESSIR, they all yelled. Later that night I snuck out of the mansion and went to the master's house and knocked on the door. One of his children answered. May I help you, Tanjiro? Let me speak to the master. I'm afraid I cannot allow that. It's fine, a voice said. Father, you should not be up right now. It's okay. I'm up for a chat, so please leave us be for right now. As you wish. She then guided us to his room where we sat down. What did you want to talk about, Tanjiro? You know what's going to happen. How do you plan to fight him? You mean Muzan for the upcoming fight? I hope that you guys can. That's not what I'm talking about. Muzan will soon be coming here to kill you. I believe you know that. What makes you think that? You guys are related, not to mention you are the head of the Demon Slayer Corps. Without any chain of command, the demons will have a higher chance of winning. How did you know we were related? His eyes were now serious. Mitsuri, man, she loves to talk. What are you going to do? I'm not sure, to be honest. I think that I will have 3 Hashira to protect me. 3 Hashiras. You're going to need all of them to do that, plus they need to train everyone. Yes, I know that. I have a suggestion, however, you may not like it. I'll hear it. Put Wisteria into TNT and blow him up with yourself. It may not kill him, but it'll at least damage him enough to the point where we'll have an easier time. I told him to kill himself without a second thought. I figured there was no way he would accept, but okay, I was going to die soon anyway. He replied while smiling. Humans never fail to surprise me. Okay, I have someone who can make it, but I'll also need your approval of something. There is a demon who is against Muzan. Her name is Tamayo and she has an assistant named Yushiro. I need you to permit them into HQ. Okay, that easy. Why did you accept so fast? I know I can trust you. But you have heard of what happened to Shinobu's sister, yes? Yeah, she won't be happy, but she'll have to live with it. Okay, I'll let everyone know. I nodded and left. The longer I was there, the worse. When I stepped outside, I noticed that someone was hiding behind a tree, not very well though. Come out. You saw me. She seemed flustered, but I didn't let it bother me. Do you need something? Well, Lady Shinobu asked me to follow you once she realized you were gone and I found you here. Was she gonna sleep with me again? Okay, well, I'm heading back now, so let's go. What did you talk about? Something that won't make Shinobu happy. The next morning I was greeted by a slap when I ran into Shinobu, who had tears in her eyes. I told you about what happened, didn't I? You did. But if we want to win, we'll need her help. She'll kill you when you're not paying attention. You should know how cunning demons are, don't you? I do. But she has yet to betray me, so I can trust her. You need to build that trust, as will all the demon slayers. That is why I'll be protecting her for a while. She didn't respond, but the waterworks quickly stopped. I'll trust you, but not that demon. So when we first meet, you have to be there too. Okay, I nodded. A few days later she arrived with me guiding her. It was night, obviously, since she can't be out in the sun, and all Hashira were gathered in the usual spot. Please introduce yourself, the master said. Yes, my name is Tamayo. This is my assistant Yushiro. I know that we are demons and you will not trust us, but I hope our hatred for Muzan will pull us together, she said with a bow. She then turned to me and flashed a light smile with a wave. Everyone was clearly put by this, but surprisingly the first one to speak up was Shinobu. My name is Shinobu. I hear that you work with medicine and whatnot, so I will be with you the most. She reached out her hand for a handshake and Tamayo shook it. Afterwards, everyone followed except Sanmi, who claimed that demons are evil no matter what, so he left. Afterward, everyone went to their area to start training, and so did I. Shinobu POV. I was now working with medicine with Tamayo, and being in the same room as her did genuinely have me on edge, but as I got to know her it was slowly coming down. I know Tanjiro told me she was safe, but she seemed almost too safe. Tanjiro looks a lot better now, she said. What do you mean? I asked, genuinely confused. Before, he looked so lifeless that he would kill anyone, but now he looks like he would try not to, but it seems he still is pretty similar to his old self. He looks the same to me as when I first met him. I only saw him differently because I saw how misunderstood he was. I see. I'm glad he was able to be around such good people. Yushiro was clearly upset about how high praise she had for Tanjiro, but that didn't stop her. But I feel like something is still up. I'll admit that he is selfish, but I think what'll happen is on a fine line between selfishness and selflessness. What do you mean? He seems nicer, especially towards you and Mitsuri. Promise me this, when the battle happens you'll keep a good eye on him for me. Tameo seemed sad when she brought this up, but something else stood out. Tameo, do you like Tanjiro? Her face turned red. What? No, of course not. My face turned to one of a smirk. Welcome to the war. Yushiro nearly died when he heard that, but he was still kicking. Sister, I believe I found a good demon. I wonder if this is what you felt when you first met Upper Moon too. A sense of relief almost. Sister, I promise you that I will kill the demon that betrayed your trust. I swear on my life. Training started the next day and I went to every Hashira's camp to train. Only for it to be a breeze. I challenged them all individually, and still none of them beat me. With my spare time, I went to visit Tameo to make sure she was doing okay. Hey Tameo, I said as I walked into the room. What I didn't expect though was for Shinobu to be in the room as well. Oh, hi Tanjiro, Shinobu said as I entered. Surprised to see you two together. Yeah, I guess so, Shinobu said looking away embarrassed. Anyway, there are some things I need you to make for me. 1. I need Wisteria TNT. 2. I need 2 exact copies of your sword Shinobu with the poison and everything. Finally, I need you guys to make a poison that is effective against Musen. A poison that can hurt Musen. Shinobu seemed worried but Tameo did not. Don't worry, with the blood you have been sending me I have already started developing it. I was hoping to bring this up soon with Shinobu anyway. I see. What about the other things? I can get you both of those, Shinobu said. I see. Thanks. I then left and went into the woods to start my own training. I first got into stance and started sun breathing, 13 form, and executed it perfectly. At this point, I was now able to do it around 3 times in a row at most. I then looked towards the tree to see AI once again poorly hiding behind a tree. What do you need AI? Oh, I'm Tanjiro. I was wondering if I could train under you. She then bowed her head. I looked her in the eyes. Do you think you can defeat Musen? Well, maybe, but I was thinking the upper moons. The upper moons don't concern you during this battle. Can you fight Musen? Her eyes then seemed to resolve themselves. Yes, I see. Bring Kanao here too. I'll help her as well. She then ran back and grabbed Kanao and came back. Both of you first show me what you can do. I got into a fighting stance with both my katanas sheathed. Are we doing hand to hand? No, you bring out your swords. Let me see your strength. They both drew their swords. Now come at me. They both charged and tried all of the attacks they could, but I managed to dodge them all. Too slow, I said as I socked AI in the gut. Kanao then appeared behind me with her sword and slashed right at my neck, coming at me with the intention to kill. I like that. I grabbed her katana with my bare hand and then punched her in the gut as well, and you're too noticeable. After that, they had a quick water break and we all met up again. I'm going to give it to you straight. You guys are no help during the fight with Musen. You're best just providing the medical team with support. But what about the upper moons? Kanao asked. As I told AI, those are not your concern. But I'm trying to not get you guys killed. Unless you have something more to offer, then I'm afraid this is as far as you go. AI seemed down when I said that, but Kanao didn't. Tanjiro, I actually have an ability that lets me see time slower. Does it hurt you when you activate it? It does, and it also worsens my eyesight afterward. I only used it once before, but I managed to get my full vision back after that time thanks to Shinobu. I see. I will train you then. AI, go back to the other Hashiras. AI seemed like she was about to cry, but she still got up and started walking away. But I will say, if there was more time then I would train you as well. You both came at me with the intention to kill. For that, you have my respect. This seemed to back AI a little happier, but she still seemed a little down. She soon left, leaving me and Kanao alone. First, let's rack up your battle experience a little bit. I'm not going to hold back at all, but I won't kill you. She readied herself with her sword, and I pulled out my love-breathing sword, and then the battle started. She swung at me right away, but I countered fully, knocking the sword out of her hand while also numbing her wrist. Too direct, be more creative. Yes, she charged at me again, this time doing an attempt to try and throw me off. I caught her wrist and threw her down. Too weak. You're not going to overpower any demon in this fight. Only a Hashira even has a chance at that. Focus on technique. Yes, the rest of the day continued just like that, with me pounding new information into her head about how to fight. That's enough for today, go rest. I can still go on, she said as she tried to pick herself up, but then she fell down again. No, you can't even stand. But, enough. I then picked her up princess style. She blushed heavily while I had the same stoic expression on my face. When I made it back, Kanao was asleep while Shinobu looked insanely jealous. I brought her back to her room and laid her down on her bed. Tanjiro, I love you. I then left. She was sleep talking right now anyway, so it didn't matter, but still. I don't need love. The only thing I need is myself, and that's all I will ever need. A flash of everyone passed in my mind. Mitsuri, Shinobu, Kanao, Ai, Tameo, the Master, Rengoku, Tenjin. Only myself, I thought as I was leaving. I was back in the forest still doing my training when Mitsuri and Shinobu came out. Tanjiro, I have the stuff you need. Shinobu yelled. I have some food as well. Mitsuri yelled. Still a glutton. Thanks, Shinobu, I said. Hey, where's my thanks? You already ate all the food you brought. She looked down at the plate and gasped. He won't love you if you're such a glutton, Shinobu said quietly to Mitsuri. And I'm sure he won't love someone whose chest is as flat as her personality, Mitsuri snapped back. They then got into an argument. This isn't too bad, I thought as a very small smile appeared on my face. Pretend this is Tanjiro. P.S. I am Koji. When I woke up the next morning I was surrounded completely. I had Shinobu and Kanao next to me with Tameo, Ai, and Mitsuri all laying on top of me. I laid there for a minute before Tameo finally woke up. Oh, good morning Tanjiro. Move. How mean. Can't you even say please? No, move. You're no fun. With that she got up and was about to leave. That's one of my problems down, I thought. With Tameo gone though I had just enough room to squeeze out and left. It was early in the morning but I needed to get to the master right away so I figured he wouldn't mind. I went up to his house and knocked on the door. Once again one of his kids answered it. Can I speak to the master? You may, he said with a bow. I met up with him in his room just like we were before. Here is the TNT. Place it under this room's floor. Also do not leave this room at all. I understand, he said with a grin. I was about to get up when I remembered I had something I wanted to ask him. How can you throw away your life so fast? Didn't I already tell you? You told me an answer that I would accept about you not being able to live long. What's your real reason? Tanjiro, what do you think your purpose is in this life? To live, I said without hesitation. I see. Good for you that you figured yours out. However, for people like me we live all our lives without knowing. When we finally feel that we have a place we feel like we must do it, for that is our purpose. So your purpose is to die to injure Muzan. No, my purpose is to die helping the ones who helped me all these years. They're the same, aren't they? Same action, different meaning. Tanjiro, you say your purpose is surviving, which is fine. But please, even just a little when this final battle comes, watch over the rest of my children. And I don't mean just biologically. All of the core, I want you to be head after I pass. No thanks, have your kids do it. I figured you say that. Then please protect everyone to the best of your ability. I can't promise that. You know how dangerous this last battle is. I see. Well, thank you for giving me purpose, he said with a smile. After that, I left. 3 weeks flew by and while I was sleeping the night of the battle finally came. Taga POV. I was sitting alone in the room as I had been for the past 3 weeks when all of a sudden a figure appeared in the shadows. This is what the last figurehead will look like, he said. He stepped forward and it revealed Muzan. Of course, you have seen my face, haven't you? You know what is going to happen to your precious family, right? I'll slaughter them all, and who knows, a few might beg me and become upper moons. Of course, they wouldn't. Don't underestimate my children, I said sternly. Humans on the verge of death are when they make irrational decisions. If you threaten to have one kill theirself or kill 100 people, they'll choose the 100 people. Not all humans are like that. My children are far stronger than you think. It doesn't matter how strong they are. If they're humans, they're still weak. A little bit of silence passed before I spoke up again. Do you know the story of the tortoise and the hare? Who doesn't? He said mockingly. The turtle won the race despite being much slower. But unlike that hare, I am not so dumb to get cocky and lose. Yes, but we, unlike the tortoise, are much more cunning. For example, what if the turtle set traps in the hare's path ahead of time? His eyes went wide and I flashed a small grin as I pressed a button under the table, blowing us both up. As my decapitated head was falling, my last thing my eyes saw was a young man charging at Muzan with the same stoic face as ever. Tanjiro POV. As soon as Muzan was here, I was able to smell him immediately. I quickly jumped up, surprising everyone in the bed, and grabbed my things and dashed right to the building. I waited outside and then the whole place exploded. The master's kids were moved to another building after the day I gave him the TNT, so there was no issue about that. As soon as it exploded, I dashed in and saw the master floating head. I didn't have the time to worry about it though, cause as Muzan was getting up, I jabbed him with one of Shinobu's swords that carried the Muzan killing poison. Damn you, Tanjiro Kamado, he yelled as he went to attack me, only to cough up blood. Then a room opened behind him and he fell in. Then all the other Hashira appeared. Tanjiro, what happened? Shinobu yelled. Musen's here. Listen up. Get your slayers cause we're going in. Inosuke and Zenitsu, you're coming in with me right away. No way. Zenitsu yelled, but then he seemed to remember something and in a sudden turn of events he said, never mind. I'll go. Alright everyone move, I said as the three of us jumped in. The room seemed to be a classic Japanese room, and when I opened the door I saw what looked to be an infinite space with wired floating rooms and upside down stairs. I then looked far enough and saw what looked to be a blood cocoon. Inosuke, stay here and wait for Hashira. Zenitsu, you and I are going in. Alright, he said, his eyes were serious for once. We walked, but the further we walked the further the cocoon seemed to be away. As we kept on walking, two people appeared right behind us. They were Mitsuri and Shinobu. Where are the others? They're catching up. I have the others watching our slayers for right now. And why did you run up alone? Well, we figured you might be in danger and... Mitsuri, listen, I am going to be in danger no matter what. Most likely the kids will be giving updates on everything, but here's the thing. If I am not in danger we will lose. I know. Good, then let's move. We kept on walking when Zenitsu suddenly stopped and ran to our left. I couldn't smell any specific demon since this place reeked of them. We went on ahead and now the cocoon seemed closer than ever when I got a message sent to my brain. Yushiro has met Upper Moon 5. He is going to try and get Musen and all Hashiras out. Just then 3 impossibly strong demons appeared in front of us. One had 6 eyes with Upper Moon 1 written on them. Another had a hat on with Upper Moon 2 written on his eyes, and the other was none other than Akaza. Shinobu and Mitsuri instantly froze up. Just then though a door behind us opened to the outside. Once everyone is outside we will be sending Musen, who is in a cocoon, outside as well. The voice in our heads yelled. Shinobu and Mitsuri, though, instead of running, looked more ready and less scared. Oh my, you look familiar, Upper Moon 2 said to Shinobu. She gritted her teeth and stared at him. Long time no see, Tanjiro. Hopefully missing red hair isn't weighing too bad on you, Akaza said. Upper Moon 1 said nothing. Just then though, back off, everyone approaching cocoon back up. Dambuses, did you really think Master would let you go along with what you wanted? Akaza said. Shut it. We'll kill you, Mitsuri said. No, you won't, I said as I kicked them both through the door leading to the outside. Tanjiro, wait. They both yelled as the door closed on them. I turned my attention back on the 3 in front of me. Oh my, going for a 3v1. Quiet, a bit cocky now are we? Upper Moon 2 said. HOHA. Tanjiro, I knew you'd be a good demon. It's not too late. What surprised me though was that Upper Moon 1 said something. You remind me of him. Are your actions stupidity, or is it just that you're truly that strong? He said as he drew his sword. Well, I'll let you know something. I am about to whoop all 3 of you guys at the same time, so give me their best you got, I said as I drew my son's sword. I drew my sword as the 3 of them stared at me. Don't be getting cocky, kid, Akaza yelled as he charged at me at blitzing speeds. I quickly dodged to the right and cut his arm off in a swift motion. This put a surprised look on his face as he jumped backward. I then entered the selfless state. I was going to wait on the see-through world since that took a lot of energy to hold up. Then Akaza's eyes seemed more serious. He then charged at me again after regenerating his arm. This time I was barely able to dodge as I ducked. I swung my sword upwards only for him to sock me in the stomach, sending me into a wall. Here, I'll talk, Tanjiro, Akaza said with a grin. How can you beat all of us if you can even beat me? I got up from the rumble. Who said I can't beat you just cause I took a hit? Huh? You could barely dodge that. Sun breathing fourth form, burning bones, summer sun. I then blitzed at Akaza, this time with him not being able to dodge entirely. However, instead of hitting his body, I clashed with a sword. You are too dangerous to be left alive, Upper Moon 1 said. I then jumped backward only for a dragon made out of ice to appear right next to me. I tried to jump to the right, but then the dragon bit me, instantly freezing my arm. I then shattered it using my sword. Now your arm has frostbite, still think you can win? Upper Moon 2 asked. I looked at my arm, which was partially black, and then made a decision. I dashed right out of there. Hey, where do you think you're going? Akaza yelled as he dashed right after me. I looked behind to see both Upper Moon 1 and Akaza chasing me while an ice dragon followed. I kept on making sharp turns between hallways, but they followed perfectly. I turned through one of the hallways and stood there with my sword ready to strike. I was in the selfless state, which meant that at least to Akaza I was nearly invisible. As soon as I saw the tips of his head, I dashed with my son's sword going right for his neck. This clearly caught him off guard, but then my sword once again was blocked by a sword. I quickly went back to running, leaving the stunned Akaza behind as Upper Moon 1 continued the chase. Come on, Akaza, the master will be mad if you don't do well, Upper Moon 2 said as he came behind Akaza. What the hell was that? Akaza thought. As he saw the sword start to reach his neck, it seemed almost like he was about to remember something. something so precious to him but something long forgotten. I need to know. Akaza then charged right back after us. Haha, I don't like running, Upper Moon 2 said as he walked behind us with another ice dragon being summoned. I was still running and everyone in a while would start to trade clashes with Upper Moon 1 only to leave right away. I need more time, I thought. I thought you were like him. But I was wrong. You're not only an idiot but a coward, Upper Moon 1 remarked as he chased. Then out of nowhere Akaza appeared behind me with a fully charged fist coming right at my face. I watched almost as if in slow motion as I entered the see-through world. I then folded my back backward and then jumped away. You see the same world as I, Upper Moon 1 said. Of course, you don't expect me to win without it. Let's see how much you can see. Moon breathing, 5th form, Moon Spirit Calamitous Eddy. It took my 100% attention to be able to fully block all the attacks. My right arm which had been bit was now bleeding. As I was countering his attacks, Akaza made his move to attack me again, this time having what seemed to be a circle under him as he took a stance. I knew it would be bad to stay here any longer, so I tried to back up, but as I tried I was cut across the chest, but I was able to dodge Akaza's attack. Ba-dump, ba-dump. Slowly I was getting where I need to be, but I still needed more. I then took out my other sword, now dual wielding my swords as I had a love sword and a sun. Love breathing 2nd form Love Pangs, Sun breathing 4th form Burning Bones Summer Sun. I did 2 different styles at the same time, cutting both Akaza and Upper Moon 1 which hadn't seen this development. I quickly charged at Akaza who was regenerating, but I was stopped by an ice dragon that came crashing down. Are you two even serious? How is a 1v2 this one-sided? He asked in a bored tone. It's a 1v2 now. Ba-dump, ba-dump. A small smile cracked over my face as I looked at Akaza who now had one of Shinobu's swords stuck in him. Cough. He then coughed up blood as his veins started turning purple. Then his eyes filled with sadness as he started shedding tears. I don't have time for some sentimental ass backstory, I thought as I charged at Upper Moon 2 who looked at Akaza. He jumped backward and summoned 2 dragons to come at me which I was now dodging effortlessly, and I then changed at him only to start to be hit by a big blizzard giving most of my body frostbite. Ew, what kind of face is that? He asked with a somewhat scared expression. My body had black spots all over it from frostbite and a giant cut across my chest from a slash, and yet ba-dump, I had never felt more alive. A huge smile came across my face which must have looked completely insane to the both of them. This is adrenaline. Now I can really start the fight. I then charged at Upper Moon 1 and started trading clashes with me overpowering him thanks to me having 2 swords. But then, it seems I underestimated you, Tanjiro. His sword then changed and now we were going at an equal pace with each other, both of us not missing a beat. I had started to even get cuts on my body, but at the same time I was also starting to cut him as well. But that wouldn't be enough. I made another quick decision, and while we were trading blows I took 2 sword slashes when I then threw my second sun sword at Upper Moon 2. He dodged, but as he lifted his head I then threw the poison sword that hit him right in the neck. He then coughed up blood and fell to the ground. The ice dragon which had been behind him then disappeared along with his body. I backed up a little and then readied my 2 swords, and Upper Moon 1 did the same when I heard a voice. Whoever else in the Infinity Castle, leave right away. It is starting to collapse. The voice rang in my head, but it seemed Upper Moon 1 also sensed it. We don't have much time left. I will deal with you now. His mouth then turned monstrous as he also seemed to be stronger. He charged at me right away with a slash and it sent me flying backward. My smile still remained though. The only way I could win was through pure adrenaline. To let my blood flow freely. I charged at him once again as we started exchanging blows. The walls around us started to fall apart, but neither of us cared. We both just kept on trying to slash the other. R-A-H-H-H. He let out a roar. Keep it coming. I yelled back as I continued to keep blocking and then slashing. Then the platform we were on then fell. Both of our footings collapsed, but we still kept going at 100%. We were now fighting mid-air over a city in the real world. It was most likely where Musen and everyone else were. We were falling with the wind pushing against us with no footing, but still kept on slashing at each other. We were at a stalemate when one of my swords broke. It was my love-breathing one. I had another, but I didn't have the time to get it. He used this chance to slash right at me only for me to jab him right in the throat. I then said sun-breathing, 3rd form, raging sun, chopping his head clean off. I quickly grabbed his head and then chopped it up into millions of tiny pieces. Then the rest of the body disappeared. I was left falling thousands of feet in the air. Even if I were to survive, I would most defiantly have tons of broken bones. All I could do was leave the rest up to everyone else. As I'm falling over the air, I accept what's coming to happen. My heart starts to calm itself. I feel the wind pushing against me as memories of my life flash back. My life with my so-called family, Mitsuri, Shinobu, Kanao, Ai, Tameo. They all come into my mind. I close my eyes and continue to let myself fall. I think about life. My life was pretty shitty, doing everything I could from a young age just to feed a family who didn't care about my work, to killing demons who could kill me in a flash if I'm not careful. Have I made a difference? I wonder. Most people have goals, ambitions they want to fulfill. I always tell people my goal is to live, however, there was something more to that. Yes, I want to live, but I can give up on that once I make a big enough difference to the point where I don't have to. I think about Mitsuri again, the one who I could truly call family. Had I been meaningful to her? What about the others? As I think these things, I feel that I'm getting closer to the ground. However, a way of thinking that had never appeared before showed in my brain. Would Mitsuri want her only family to die? The voice asked. She doesn't see me as her only family. Everyone is family to her, I thought back. Not you. I'm sure you figured it out a long time ago. I know, but I'm afraid that someone as terrible as me deserves a dog's death rather than a happy end. That would make her and the other girls all have a miserable end as well. If you can't live for yourself, then live for them. As he kept on talking, the more I started to understand just what the words family and love meant. It wasn't something that just was used when saying, "Oh, because we're family," or "Thank you so much, Tanjiro, love you." It was something more unexplainable, you could say. Someone you would give everything up for just to see them smile again. I open my eyes and resolve myself. I look below. The ground is coming fast. I pull out my love katana and wrap the blade around a wooden house to try and reduce the damage of my fall. I get pulled closer into the house while destroying most of the outside of it. I land on my stomach and broke a few ribs. I got up slowly and started my breathing technique to try and heal the damage a bit. Once I was good enough, I headed towards where most of the destruction was. Mitsuri POV. No. Way. All 11 Hashiras with talented slayers. We're all on the ground. Some of us dead. The ones still alive barely hanging on. Muzan grips Muakairo's neck and rips off his head like nothing. I glance over at Shinobu, who is also on the ground with me. I tried to get back up but fell again. My left leg was completely broken. I then feel Muzan start walking towards me. He grabs me by his hand and raises me into the air. As I look into his eyes, he looks so scared. His eyes were focused but not on us, on someone or something else. "I can't believe those idiots died," he muttered as he strengthened his grip on me. "So you did it, Tanjiro. That's good. I hope when I see you next, we can finally be together as a true family," I thought with closed eyes and a tear shed. But then he let go and dropped to the floor. He stared into the distance with a fearful look on his face. "You even survived that fall. What a monster you are." "I don't want to hear that from you." A boy then was shown. Tanjiro. Just in time. "You'll have no backup now, so this'll be a cinch." Muzan. "Let me ask you something. What do you find purpose in?" It was a rather odd question, but Muzan answered, "Making the world perfect. A perfect race that transcends humans." "I see. Then let us compare." "Resolve then." Tanjiro then readied his sword and charged in. Tanjiro POV. I now charged at Muzan. My heart was calm and so was I. I was in the see-through world and in the selfless state already, so I was already in peak performance. Normally I would have held on to that feeling of being alive, that adrenaline. But now I have a goal. A real goal that makes me bring out my best. To make Mitsuri and the others happy. I don't know where that other side of me had come from that told me about all that. But if this is what the girls want, then so be it. Love breathing first form, shivers of first love. Muzan dodges easily and prepares to attack me back. However, I turned around quickly enough to get another chance. Love breathing, fourth form. Direct love. My blade extends into a long sword way longer than any other katana as I swing on for him to duck. Not bad. Unfortunately, you're not as good as him. He grabs my neck and raises me. I quickly punch his elbow with full force, popping the bone right out in the out, allowing me to get set down. His arm regenerates immediately and the blades connected to him started charging at me. I was able to dodge with ease, but to him it must have looked impossible, because he soon realized that while I was dodging I was staring him down the whole time. "Worthless human," he yells as it gets faster, but as I continue to dodge I start getting closer to him and he takes a step back. His eyes seem to portray not me but Yorichi. His mind is fogged, he can't think straight. I quickly pick something up while dodging without him even noticing. Soon I'm close enough that I say love breathing fourth form, direct love. My blade extends but he cracks a smile and destroys it. "That was your last blade. You're finished." What he didn't expect though was to be stabbed right through the heart by Shinobu's sword, dosed with the blood that she put on it, making it even more deadly. He jumps back and rips out the blade from his chest. "This won't be enough to do me in, you know." Of course, it won't. I wasn't so stupid to believe that would kill Muzan. What I did know though was that sunrise was nearly here. About 2 more minutes I'd say. Tanjiro, a weak Kano says here. She then throws her sword with all her might right at me. I picked it up and got into stance. Originally I planned to use my hands to fight at this point, but this was way better. Sun breathing, 13th form. He got completely sliced up and the fear returned to his eyes after seeing the sun technique again. Master Rengoku, your request that I couldn't accomplish. I hope this makes up for it. I thought as I said sun breathing 2nd form. Clear blue sky. This chopped his head off, but of course, he was still alive. You can't kill me, he says with a weak smile. I could, but I'm spent right now. Thankfully though I don't have to. And as I said that the sun started to rise. He tried to recollect his body but it was already too late. He looked at the sun with fear. His eyes screamed, I don't want to die. Hey Tanjiro, come here for a second, I got some info you might want. His desperation was obvious. No thanks. Even if it is good info, I'd rather not. Wait please Tanjiro. Then I watched as the sun scorched his whole body. Afterwards I fell to the ground. I wake up and take a look around. Once again I'm surrounded by girls, with the exception of Tameo. However, I soon see her asleep in a chair at a desk with medicine on it. I get up, which alarms everyone. Tanjiro. They all yelled as they all jumped on me. Hey, how long was I out? 1 month, Tameo responded with her eyes watering a bit. I see, I said with a small but noticeable smile. Mitsuri's eyes went wide and then her eyes filled up with tears. I saw it. Tanjiro, your true smile. She then jumped ahead of everyone else and kissed me on the lips. I love you Tanjiro. I love you as well. She wrapped me in a hug. For a moment I thought this was peaceful, but it soon turned into chaos when all the other girls started fighting. From there I was given the rest of the fortune that the Demon Slayer Corps owned since it was now disbanded. The only Hashiras left alive were Mitsuri, Shinobu, Jiyuu, and Sanmi. Inosuke and Zenitsu were also alive. I split it with the children of the master and gave a fair share to the Saliers still left. Since Mitsuri couldn't stand all the arguing, she allowed everyone to marry me. I wound up having children with all of them. Tameo was also no longer a demon thanks to Musen's death, so there were no issues there. Time went on with me enjoying my life. For once I could honestly say that I was happy. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through What If Tanjiro Was Overpowered Genius. Found it as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did. A big shout out to Zap7 for crafting such a compelling story. Don't forget to check out their profile on Wattpad for more amazing works. The link is in the description below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Quirky What If for more fascinating explorations into the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you guys in the next video.